fugat, vai! Então fugat, vai! Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce, desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Então fugat, vai! Então fugat, vai! Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce, desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
Well, folks, it's that time. Time for some promotion and relegation. Welcome to VALORANT Challengers League North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Gompers. And it's just going to be us two on the desk, as it normally is for promotion relegation, where the stakes are high, and we will break it all down for you. Gompers, it is wonderful to be back with you, number one. And number two, these are some teams that are really kind of clawing their way back and making sure that they stay in this Challengers League.
Yeah, and I mean, all in all, it's kind of hard to be in this position as well when you think about it. At the same time, right? Like you had a bad game within stage one, and now you're kind of coming back to trying to figure out a way to make everything work here in promotion relegation and bring yourself back up to that stance where everyone was excited to see you play. And now it's like, okay, well, you know, at least take another breath and keep yourself back in the bracket. So yeah, I mean, it sucks to be honest, but at the same time, like, hey, it's another opportunity and not everyone gets to have this opportunity.
Yeah, I think the one thing I do definitely want to highlight is these teams have fought for days at this point to be here, right? The teams on the screen that you see right now, including SAD, Prosperity, Strawberry Rebellion, Gold, and Pigeons. These are teams that, like Gompers that you highlighted, didn't want to be here. This was not the plan, right? You know, but nonetheless, that's how the cookie crumbled. And here they are working and fighting their best. Today, we have, of course, Prosperity Esports versus SAD Esports. And it's something that, you know, if maybe you're not paying attention to the scene, you might not put as much weight onto it as you would like. But this is a really, really, really important game to keep an eye on. This is a team that defeated, or it has a 1-0 win-loss streak right now. And it's kind of, I don't want to say do or die right now, obviously, but it's time to put up or shut up, Gompers, because at this point, your mistakes will be seen, they'll be noted, and you don't have the luxury of making them.
Yeah, 2 top seeds as well, just like battling it out, which, you know, previously we did get to see SAT Esports and Prosperity kind of battle it out already, and it didn't necessarily go as planned for Prosperity. So it does get you thinking, how is this going to work? What difference is this going to make down in this group stage? You know, are they going to be able to, you know, get that redemption arc for Prosperity, which is something I'm really interested in seeing.
And of course, this is just technically a seeding match. No team will be eliminated or relegated, if you will, moving forward. So if the winner, whoever wins today, will face Pigeons. The loser will face Shopify, Rebellion, Gold. Both, no, those are 2 great teams to be facing. There's no kind of like, oh, I'd rather face them or I'd rather face X or Y. It is, seeding's important, of course, Gompers, but it's important to make sure that we kind of take our seeding matches seriously and not just say, oh, well, it's a seeding match. Like, it is what it is, say la vie. Because you never know who's watching, aka Pigeons and Shopify, Rebellion, Gold, because they have a little bit of a break. You know, they're waiting in the bracket.
Yeah, just stalking. I mean,
Like, literally just stalking. They're just like waiting.
to kind of see the competition and see you have to look out for. Mostly as well, I just enjoyable to just be able to, you know, watch good Valorant, I feel like, at the same time. That's kind of why I'm sitting here at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, this job is just a reason for me to do nothing and watch Val, but, you know, exposing myself.
And well, boy, do I have some Valorant for you. It is SAT Esports versus Prosperity Esports today. Like we mentioned, as you can see, the rosters are on the screen right now. Again, I always say this when I'm on the desk, but if you've been paying attention to the Challenger scene, if you've been paying attention to, you know, what we have here in the Challengers League, these are names that you should know, right? These are names that should be familiar to you, ones that stand out to you. And so when we're in this position, Gompers, and we're in this kind of like promotion relegation, again, like we talked about, it's not the place that you want to be. These are folks that I feel are prepared and ready to be in this position, to be frank.
Yeah, I think they've done just, I mean, honestly, just as much as they could. At the end of the day, you know, you do have to understand, like, both of these teams didn't really have the best run within Stage 2. I believe it was 1 series out of 5, 1 for SAT, and 0, 1 for Prosperity. So when you're looking at the statistics, it's not so great, but I feel like that's what creates that anime revenge arc, right? Like, these 2 teams just looking to put themselves back in the main stage and show that, okay, yeah, I didn't have the best series, I didn't have the best stage, but you know, that's what it's all about. It's a learning curve. It's a learning opportunity to see what your weaknesses are and just look back at the past. And obviously, talking about the past at Esports and Prosperity, we did talk a little bit about how they did play against each other. So Prosperity losing 2-0 on map picks that they should be dominant on, I feel like it does kind of show, you know, where the energy is leaning towards.
And that was about a month ago, excuse me, where that happened. I believe it was on the April 10th or about a month ago, where these teams have faced each other. That's a very long time, Gompers, to be fair.
Yes.
You know, a lot can happen in a month. I was a different woman a month ago. Oh my God, the life experience that you have. But the jokes aside, like, you do learn a lot. You're able to watch a lot, like we're talking about. Like, Shopify Rebellion Gold is at their boot camp right now watching this. Right. Hi, girls. How you doing?
Love you guys.
But it's the same deal here, right? You have this time to prepare and you have this time to sit back and say, okay, what went wrong? What did we do wrong this time? How can we fix it? Do we need to change our maps? Do we need to change our agent comps? You know, and like you said, they should have won those the map pit selections there. So why didn't they? Do they choose it again? You know, et cetera. It is really important now that we figured this out, and this is the best test. And speaking of maps, we have our map picks and bans present here. We have Lotus, Haven, and if we need to, we will be ending on Icebox. It is a best of 3. For some reason, I thought it was best of 5 this morning. I woke up and I was like, oh, a lovely best of 5. And
I
realized
thought the same thing. No, you're not alone. I thought the same thing. But I like this. I think
you
this
do,
is
why?
like, I don't know. I think this is so, honestly, not really leaning towards Prosperity side, just because Lotus and Icebox were the maps that they lost against, right? 13-5 on Icebox, so that being a decider is absolutely brutal for the side of Prosperity. Lotus being a map that they should be dominant on, but the composition they tend to run here for SAD is honestly so terrible for Prosperity to go against, right? Running the Neon comp. I'm hoping they change that up. But in terms of Jerwin just being absolutely demonic on the waylay, and having that Sentinel be, I believe it is Deadlock that they like to use here. So it really just creates that coverage, right? The double controller composition. It's not great, honestly, looking for that first map. And then even then, if we do get to see Prosperity win Haven, there's Icebox, and then there's so much more that has to be said. So for me personally, unless there are changes made to kind of divert attention away from Jerwin, who has been proven to be an issue for Prosperity here, you know, and take away from that Deadlock, then I think maybe we can see something happen. Maybe the KO can start taking action. Maybe we can see a little bit more damage control with the Raze. Like, it really just depends, I think, here on Prosperity, and I think that's going to be that leveraging factor as to whether or not we see SAD Esports.
I was stalking their socials yesterday, all of them. That sounds very, very weird, but you know, just to get like a good idea of where they're at and where their head is at. And a lot of them don't use their socials, but I went on to Prosperity's account, and they all retweeted their one of their wins that they actually had, to be frank. And they were all just, there was relief, Gompers. Like, there was like, oh my God, thank God we won one. You know, like this kind of like, you know, you ripped the Band-Aid off, you got the hardest thing out of the way, which was getting that win, right? And this kind of, they were very celebratory, but even, they had a clear lead in this game, but even when they comes down to it, they were still like, oh, thank goodness, like they're still serious. But once that kind of relief hit, it makes me think, and I'm gonna pose this to you, that when you kind of have, like I said, like that, the win you need to get, the one in the column, the hardest one out of the way, all bets are off at that point. Right, you've done the hardest job. It's like when you like have like, the worst they can say is no. They say no, you move on, right? Kind of like that sort of thing. Where it's like the worst has happened, or the best has happened. You've done what you need to do. Excuse me. The same kind of stakes. Now it's, you talk about kind of that Jerwin setup. Like, can they stop Jerwin? Now at this point, they've done the hard part. They've won. You know, they have proven that they can win and they can do well. Do we think I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Do we think Prosperity kind of has this no gloves mentality now, or is it more of a, you know, like, okay, we got to keep it up, we got to keep going, we have to keep on reaching that summit?
I think there's less of, I guess, less of stakes in terms of this game, definitely, just because more so, again, it's not like they're being eliminated if anyone loses or wins this game. There is that bracket that they need to go through, and they have to better understand. I think the most pressure is going towards the next game they have to play, for sure.
That's true.
I think here specifically, though, you know, you do want to walk away feeling victorious with your Prosperity from a team that did kind of demolish you in the last series that you played against them. I will say, will it be a little more of a chillax environment? I hope so. I think that's the only mentality that you can go through with this, you know, into this game, especially since stress is the main cause of, I feel like, the main deterrent for winning. I feel like it's so incredibly hard when you're constantly stressed about every move and overanalyzing every single detail. And, you know, I have noticed a lot of the time when players are like, yeah, well, you know, we knew we were going to win, or, oh, we were just, you know, playing and having fun. You should have heard our comms. I think that's when they play their best game. So I'm hoping they're not stressing. They're like, you know what? This is going to be an easy game. Regardless of what happens, we're not getting knocked out. We have to focus up the next game. We're just going to practice or do this or do that. Treat it like a scrim. If that's the mentality, then for sure, I think Prosperity can run away with it, because Magic is a phenomenal duelist. So, I mean, you have him there.
Yes, and we do have some predictions coming up from the talent team here today, from me, Gompers, Zobi, and Mind. And I decided to be a rebel, if you will, Gompers. I decided to go for Prosperity for that exact reason, Gompers, you were talking about. I watched that video last night, and I kind of watched it again and again after they had that win, and it's kind of like just sat there thinking about, like, listening to what they were saying to each other and that emotion. And there was this certain kind of locked in calm. That's the best way I can describe it. Where I was like, okay, like, you know, and I think, you know, the way you hit the nail on the head, Gompers, about that. You know, if they treat this, take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously, and don't stress themselves out, you know, like turn their hair gray over it, that will create miracles, and dare I say, magic will happen, you know? So, but you did not go for Prosperity. You went for SAD Esports, and I have a very
Yeah.
simple question for you. Why?
Yeah. I just think in terms of their performance last time when they played against Prosperity, they had really good moments, but I don't know. I think compositional-wise for Lotus, it's just already not looking too great. And I'm gonna emphasize this so many times. Like, first of all, Benji and Tuzi have been playing together ever since playing against or playing with each other ever since 2023. So in collegiate, and they're pretty. I feel like in terms of synergy, you have team members here that have been playing together for such a long time. You have a composition that works so absolutely well. You have numbers on map pick fans that always work in their favor, right? So for me, especially against a team that you've already dominated, and especially having, I believe it's having Derwin on your team, just like being able to dominate on the duelist, there really isn't much that I can say that would lead towards Prosperity's side. But I do think this is a phenomenal team. Again, if they do manage to somehow let go of, just the overanalyzation that I saw in the last time they played against this team, I think they will absolutely run them down.
Let go and let live. Speaking of another L, Lotus, let's hit it, y'all. We are going to be heading into Lotus as our first map. And Gompers has pointed out some fears that she has about the agents that we might see on this map. We know if you're watching VCT Americas, whatever IL may be, there is some variation here. There's kind of like, I feel like if you watch an Ascent match or you watch like even like a split, it's pretty cut and dry what you'll see. But Lotus tends to have a little bit more pizzazz, if you will. It's the wrong way of saying it. But there is Gompers, there is room for, to alleviate your fears, maybe.
I think there is. This team.
You don't sound very convinced. You're like, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. See, like, I think Magic is a great contender to Derwin. I think Magic has literally everything you want down in a duelist. They're great with the aim. They're great with the setup when they can handle it. But for me personally, it really just comes down to the team as a whole. And I think, SAD Esports just kind of have that synergy going on for them. They're still going to follow through with the same composition they like to run, which is dangerous because this didn't work last time, and the deadlock was such a deterrent for Neon. And it's so fascinating that they just keep the Neon here under lock. But I do think they are running, they're still running the double controller here on Prosperity, double controller. But I think the Viper works better just because, Magic is such a fast-paced player. Deadlock closes off the walls, double controller really just creating that barricade, and it feels like there is no way for you to come through anything, honestly. But I think, the past is the past. Hopefully Prosperity has learned, So I'm just hoping they've rewatched the VODs. They understand their mistakes here, and they understand how to get past all of these deterrents.
And those deterrents, that deadlock is starting on defense. So good luck to everyone here. But we have two amazing casters to start this game off. It is Zobi and Upmind on the call. Friends, take it away.
Particular players?
I think it's definitely a breath of fresh air in the kind of newer meta, feeling it's been very catered towards the defense, and both of these teams are very active, very go-getting towards that attack. The double, I'll call it double quote-unquote duelist with the Clove and the Neon because it's just as good. And then obviously the dive of the Waylay and the deadlock's not the best, you'd say, on the defense in my mind. But I gotta throw back to something the Death said as well and give maybe some hope to the Prosperity fans here in that this map, right, is I think a great way to start off the series because it was an 11-13 loss against SAD in the Swiss stage round 4, but it was at a time where they had just picked up a new member. They had just gone through that roster swap of Nora for Iso, so there was still that acclimation period, that adjustment period. And now they've gotten a few reps in, with the Funhaver 0-win qualifiers. They've started out playing in relegation with that win over Nightblood Gaming. And I think that if they finally have that core 5 set in stone with these compositions they like to run, we could see a lot more competitive of a series here, even if it is just a seeding match.
And just on paper, we're seeing, the map here for Prosperity where they've just had the most power. They took down Blue Water and Winthrop on this map alone. Yes, it was a 13-11 against SAD, but that's what it is. It's 13-11.
Well,
such thin margins. But here we go. It is Tuzi up on that front line, already trying to hold off a bit of a CC. All for Prosperity. trying to clamp down right on him, and indeed, the only thing that Tuzi can do is back out.
Well, they're already on to this C site here. Nice little denial again. When you're running a composition that doesn't have as much site potential, you're going to play for these traps, you're going to play for these retakes, which is exactly what this aims to do, right? You clear out past the barrier mesh over towards B pillar, and you're going to try and play retake. But look, Prosperity understands this premonition, so they are going to fight forward through Waterfall. You know, they now can understand players are going to be coming heavily from that flank through Revolving Door. So what do? Flip the site, push into CT, and seems like Magic's doing a good job at that. Jerwin now on an island, overwhelmed. The fault line comes through, and just like that, players for the side of SAD are dropping like flies.
One enemy remaining.
There's even have some utility used here to try to deny this defuse if it does go in, but it just does not matter. Crossfire is there for the last two. So you got Prosperity with a sharp start, but again, got to give it up to the fact only one person there on that C site. Prosperity able to take full advantage of the space. It's good ambition to take those back lines, to take back CT. But we got to move on to the next. SAD Esports. We still could see some big potential, you know, out of just the flying pistols. You know, we get to see some fun here. This game is supposed to be fun, Zobi. Let's have fun with it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, great way to kick things off here, right, with a pistol round on the attack side. And if you found that success on C, realizing how light the hold is because that deadlock is front and center B, then yeah, run it back. And I do like how they're, even though they don't have kind of that true life sentinel, they're still playing this double lurk, right? You're leaning into Manny, the self-sufficient Clove with a pick-me-up to push over towards A, to disrespect the toxic screen, and you have Omen kind of trying to respond to that spawn pressure that did mount last on the pistol and kind of kicked things off poorly for Prosperity. So already trying to fix mistakes. But speaking of fixing mistakes, SAD, 3 players strong on the C site. They heard all that utility. They saw the salvo set up for this execution, and they're here, right on the right site, right time. Oh no.
Here, though, this defensive side, yeah, this one's gonna hurt. But
Spike
oh my
down,
goodness,
C.
oh my goodness. SAD just got 2 frags.
Oh.
Yes, this is gonna be the kill for Manny, right? Right? Okay.
How long were they gonna push it out? I mean, that's crazy. And I mean, it works because you now have opened up the B site. You were like making sure nobody else was gonna be home for this plant, but kind of gave more time now, I would say, for SAD to find this impact kill over towards Mount, and now set up for kind of a crunch play because you're Neon, because Magic is alone over towards B main, worried about these players coming through spawn.
Ooh, okay. Cage is gonna go up, gonna allow for a bit of a cross here. It's not gonna be easy for the Neon to try to get something out of this. Wall's in his way. Magic's have been looking for a gap, but there goes the crossfire. 2 players stuck over towards connected. Defuse is going in. Defuse is down to half. Tuzi is close. The defuse is fully in. The pistols come flying in, like we were trying to kind of hint at a little bit earlier. And SAD, indeed, are actually able to win that round out.
I was worried about the pacing there a little bit, right? They were a little bit slow rolling after picking up that Bulldog over towards Mound, but that's how you want to see Benji utilize this deadlock kit. Again, fragment the players, take number advantageous fights when you do have the worst weaponry, and we love a little Ninja Diffuse on top. So while, you know, we may have seen a joke made of a few, you know, SAD players there like the Viper, it's ultimately, you know, SAD who gets the last laugh, stealing away that second round thrifty.
And getting beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff off the Tejo that is going to get nerfed in a little bit, but that utility right there, the use of that util is not going to get nerfed. Beautifully done, but here is another beautiful play here. At least on paper here for Prosperity, they're able to safely make their way into the C site. The safety here from SAD is all really depending on Zerona, and Zerona's still going to get exposed for it. That's a clean trade, but not anymore. Magic looking for the rifle is going to go down to Jerwin. Spike still has not gone down. So Prosperity, the advantage that they had by quickly getting into the C site is already lost. SAD has surrounded the site. The only way they can go back is through main.
And I was questioning the disengagement there from Yuki. I think the idea was maybe, hopefully it was my guess, to send utility towards an alternative site to get some of these players off, but just cutting noise is enough to have that effect, right? 2 players, Jawa, Jerwin, drawn already into spawn, but as soon as contact's made, as soon as Yuki makes that swing, they migrate right back. And you mentioned they're gonna have that advantage for the reflood set up here, right? The net goes in. Manny, who has his biggest weapon in hand, is trying to be that difference maker, but just none of the kills are going his way. Okay, here we go. Still 20 seconds to go, no spike plant despite the kills found, favoring the side of Prosperity here, and it's just SAD taking the fights one after another, and Jerwin, Ironically, the player that was the deepest off site there over towards CTE is the one to collect all 3 to get SAD in the lead early out the gate. Okay. I mean, we don't want to like overcomplicate things just yet, right? It's still a 2-1 here. It is still, I mean, getting into these rifle rounds. And I mean, no ults online either, so fairly well-rounded here. But finally, we get to see Prosperity widen the playbook a little bit, you know, heading over towards this A site, departing from the C they so fruitfully fought for, and a great timing to do so as well, right? SAD decided to take the initiative, fight forward towards C, and I mean, Manny's at least here to cut it down to size, but they got all this space A, which was the takeaway.
Now SAD forced to really make a risky play here, down to 2. You can already see the compensation here. Jerwin all the way up in C mounts. We are going to be splitting the C hold here. You're going to have a player for each one of the poles, each one of the main choke points of this map. Benji standing on his own still, but Prosperity, they're giving themselves plenty of exit points here. If they get into an interaction over here on A, they can blitz over towards B, but it's all going to be on 1, potentially here over towards B. Benji going to be able to get 1, but that's really it. Yes, Jerwin is able to get his kill, but B technically is open. However, they're not going for it. They're going for Zerona. They have no idea where Zerona is. Zerona's going to get a free kill off the off angle. Now we're back down to 2.
And the whole entire B rotation hinged on Manny clearing out all of B main. So German getting that backstab, they knew it wasn't a go-to site because they would have gotten surrounded. And now, I mean, you mentioned it, they lose a few kills off of Zerona, but it's still a spike plant. It's still a 2v2, so I think this is the best situation they could have asked for. And if Yuki's able to find Zerona or Jerwin, that's also going to be the Armageddon online, hopefully cap off this round, but gotta get that far first.
There's Yuki. Yeah, there it is. There's still Jerwin. Has an eye on Yuki. Has no idea about the other though. Skirting around. Jerwin does make it past the breach, but there's the kill for Prosperity. Prosperity going tit for tat, but a dramatic way to do so. They were up by 2.
Leave it to me. I'll rough them up.
Yeah, the refract just doesn't come in quick enough. I liked the dash to clear out all of, drop all of heaven to make sure it wasn't double kind of pronged control there off of Yuki also playing from ropes, but oh no, I think the push and pull here has been nice. We've seen SAD, able to get away with a few surprises here because of the lack of a Sentinel, particularly Jerwin in that round up against Manny. But again, the late round call there from Yuki to lock in here on the ace fight, even if they did lose the Omen in that fight. All of it puts us here to the 2-2. Economy okay. Operator online, but on the wrong side. And they'll have a good crunch to deny this ace base this time around, but how does the follow through look from SAD?
Magic is basically going to be the only one taking this response, as there is the burst, huge burst on the Magic. Zerona alongside the Tejo still out. You have Benji looking for the cross. Vantic, he has no chance. Armageddon in his face for Prosperity. They aren't going to use that distract. They are going to use that effort from SAD to burst into the B site. They have B completely open. They're looking for at least a frag before they get that spike down, but this is going to be basically a flip of what happened in that last round. We're going to have Prosperity looking to flip a 3v5.
Yeah, Manny's cleared out all of spawn, and the alarm bells have to be going off. Like, I have not seen anybody. Where are they coming from? And, I mean, SAD has all the info, right? Sonic sensor was destroyed. They hit the spike. And I think that's where Manny calmed, and they realized, okay, they're coming from the flank. The reposition from Izo's perfect to avoid this annihilation, but just the scare tactic alone gains all this space and allows Sale to scale in slowly but surely.
Manually reviving Yuki, not having his gun out and not able to help. Just a bit of a scramble there from Yuki, but SAD they're going to be able to land on their feet. Good trades, but you almost think that Prosperity has a chance there, 3v2.
Yeah, the recognition, again, of where the players for SAD had to be coming from was spot on, but how they handled it. And I feel like the impact of that deep control just wasn't squared away. And as a result, I think Prosperity now with this, I'm assuming, timeout on their side, since they're the trailing team, my guess is that it's aimed towards, again, some of these gaps because of the lack of a Sentinel here. Like we mentioned, Jerwin's always getting through spawn. They didn't really have a player to watch over their backs over towards a main. And we kind of go back to that default a few rounds prior where they had an Omen watching pillar. They had, Manny watching over a main. Those were really, really clean starting setups, and they kind of departed away from them in favor of more direct executions, in favor of deep spawn control. And Sad's just kind of abusing the knowledge around that factor here really well.
It's not like Prosperity isn't pushing these players early on to try to get out of position too. They've done a good job, again, consistently putting out that look for Manny, consistently putting out that look over towards A mount, towards the outside of A. And that, at least in this last round, it did affect this team. It did pull those rotations, or at least kept them over towards that A site. That's basically all that you can really call for here in these early rounds for Prosperity. Just keep up sort of that conditioning right now. With the fact that these players, they look pretty free right now in the positions that they're in. It's not like Manny can do too much on that Clove. Doing a very good job kind of independently getting some control. Again, just keeping the rotations.
And I think coming into this round again, another factor to point out is despite being eco, all these ults online, that's when you want to take a timeout to concoct a possible eco strat where they can make up that deficit in weaponry, but not when the players that have these ults like your Overdrive are getting off by Jarwin. 2 kills found and no trades to follow because Zorona is there to also bolster this defense. So the switch up away from the Omen solo C is perfect out of Sad Esports.
Yeah, no, that's a call and a half from Sad. Izo looking for a couple of headshots, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, wow, good stuff from Sad, at least this round with the setup. At some point, Prosperity was gonna fall into one of these early traps, though consistently Sad has been sort of switching up the positionings in the early rounds, not too heavily, but enough where Prosperity, they're running into a different look basically every round. It finally comes in clutch there for Sad.
Yeah, just insane opening. Jerwin's right, been biding his time over towards C, right? Waiting for them to come back because the few opening rounds they did start out C. And then he was always flanking with an op, you know, retaking through B, you know, pinching through A. And all in all, really nicely done there. And he wanted more. And at this point, timeout's been denied. You have weapons back in hand. You didn't get the chance to use those ults, credit to Jarwin. Was also trying to challenge through the salvos, but again, when you're on a way like you can with the refract, one thing I think is you can't get away with. Vantic from the shadows to spawn. Zorona shuts that down.
That's a huge call out. That positioning was going to be big, but again, Sad, they already had 3 players surrounding the site, and now they have all 5. Prosperity running one by one into a crossfire of 5. Unbelievable stuff. Zorona's able to get themselves a 3rd off of this one. Manny tries they may. He's trying to hold on to a rifle and hold on now. Oh, he's trying to poke at the eco more than anything. But speaking of the eco, Prosperity has been totally reset at this point. Sad now with a golden, a golden carpet, not a red carpet, a golden carpet to a dub here in the half.
And I love how Jarwin that round as well. Right? Instead of being the starting actor like he was the round prior with the opening 2-piece off the operator, he utilizes his ult, that converging paths, to allow Zorona to have that forward prowess, right? All those players hindered. And Zorona fights forward as well, you know, might as well get that ult charged up in tow to strengthen the defense ever more. And all in all, you mentioned it, they have this golden carpet set up, a golden ticket right now into a successful defensive half. We mentioned these comps are weak on the defense, so they're playing this perfectly. Now Jarwin, again, right place, right time.
But Magic not able to strike down onto Jarwin. Again, it was really 2 sides of the coin there. Both a great situation, but a terrible one at the same time. But it doesn't work out for either. And instead, we see the re-engagement there from Jarwin, and he goes down. Prosperity, they have a couple of options. They can back up a little bit, try to let the play breathe. But they're already bursting into connector. And look at the hold off here, Zorona. No chance to make it through the smoke. Player's already on site, but hold on. How does Jawa just burst through the smoke? How does he take down 2? The gun play, the gun advantage there works out a little bit, but there goes the trades. Vantic and Yuki taking the round back a little bit, back down to the 2-on-2. A trade does not force anyone to burst out.
Got plenty of time to navigate the situation. I like not planting just yet on the site, but together pushing top mid, but they don't expect the backstab. They don't expect Benji through their wall after it dissipates to fight back, and it's all down to Magic.
And with the spike too, he accidentally picked up a stinger.
Oh, pop your overdrive, baby.
Ooh, do some. He has a little quick step too, but it doesn't matter. Tuzi's gonna slap him down. Sad's gonna be able to snag a 6th. But again, more importantly, Prosperity, again, barely had anything going into that round. Still able to make something out of it. And get the rifles back in their hands. So not exactly a lost cause here for the half. But
yeah, no, I liked the way they were able to battle it back, right? This was a 4v2 down to a 2-on-2. This coordination right here with the sheriffs in hand out of blue room. After we did see that beautiful rotation and kind of acknowledgement out of SAD because the wall blocked up all A. They knew they had to go B, so they're doing a good job hurting the players. But again, Prosperity X, a team not to sleep on when it comes to the mechanics. And now, hopefully, you got a team to sleep on when, again, it's a buy round. It's these big ticket ults like an Armageddon and Rolling Thunder. And they're taking them, strolling towards A.
Ooh. Benji. He actually does collect a couple of bullets. He hears some sounds on the outside of A. That's going to pull Jawa. This is the tough one now. SAD Esports, they're not pulling too much of a look here. They've only shown Benji, and Benji has never played A. At this point, or really hasn't been. Yeah, no, it hasn't been really that front-looking face on this map or on this side.
That was
of the
the
map,
idea.
Still,
obscure Jerwin.
Yeah, but Jerwin, exactly, in the front lines, or in the back lines, excuse me, finally able to get himself a shot, but there goes the burst. Magic just gets slapped down by Benji. Benji looking for another one, but still not going to happen. Down to the 3v2. Chance here, at least for Yuki and Izo. Izo not able to get anything, and Izo is down to 10 HP, and he watches his teammate goes down. Right next to him in Zerona through the smoke too. Beautiful plays from Zerona so far this game, and SAD just looking fundamental.
I mean, from start to finish, that was such a strategic outplay, right? You mentioned it. Benji this time forward facing, like, yep, look at me. Use your util on me. So that Jerwin can get that swing on to Tree. And when there's 3, almost 4 players looking at you, the fact that he's able to get away as well to backside, that forces out the Rolling Thunder early. And then Benji, I mean, in the face of a Rolling Thunder, is able to not only get a kill with the shorty, but deploy his wall over towards a main so that you have to force all those players to funnel in through a tree. So really, really nicely done. Set up now an advantage and a half. And Prosperity, I mean, I'm going to say there's success in getting the spike down, at least has been towards B. So it's not out of the ordinary to try fighting there early, but it's kind of triggered a trap that has no opponent out of SAD.
It's been a pretty consistent mentality too with SAD. I mean, they're fighting that first contact kind of, you know, a little tooth and nail at the bare minimum, but then they back out, readjusting almost every single time we've seen Prosperity on one of these takes. And yeah, if the hold holds, great, but the retake is just even better from SAD. Here comes Zerona. Zerona gonna get taken down by Izo. Still a lot more to deal with here on this A site. Prosperity, yes, they do have a bit of an insurance option, but Jerwin might actually get caught out. Yes, Vantic TPs, finds Jerwin. And there goes the big rotation back over towards C potentially. It's going to have to be a big one-on-one here.
I mean, you saw the Viper deep A, so you're expecting, okay, only a singular operator depending to C, maybe an Omen here. And that's about it. So pressing utility ensures no punishment. Should keep it clean for the 3 on 3 for the site, at least, with your Neon lurking. But this Armageddon, all it does is force the fights, and Prosperity X is winning them off of Manny.
It's an opportunity, but again, Manny has nothing. It's all magic. Magic bursts around the corner. Oh my goodness. Oh, the trade still comes out, but come on, Manny. You have to imagine Magic comes out just a little bit earlier there just to try to give Magic that life, but or just try to give the Clove a little bit of that work, but no, nothing.
It finally felt like Prosperity had an advantage in terms of keeping plays under the radar, in terms of having a really strong control of the site. And the fact that Tuzi is the one to walk away with that clutch as well. He was the first one to pick up the C side after Jerwin gets shut down by Vantic with the Sheriff. And so he plays that, communicates well, and all in all, they still get an 8th, but not over for the C side. I mean, they're winning the opening kill there round after round. Yeah,
that's huge once again for Prosperity, but rarely have we seen Prosperity really get that first kill and cut noise. You know, regather a little bit, but they already have a bit of a buddy system, to say the least. 3 players surrounding Mound as they get that frag, so not really much of a regather. Only a couple seconds into the round 2, but this is their usual dynamic, and it's gonna fall apart. Manny on his lonesome is that dynamic, but no more second prong, I guess. Prosperity still trying to target that C site, and this ultimate is everything. Viper's pick gets pulled up. It's a brick wall in front of C. And now these players are stuck in Mound. And another free kill from Zerona.
That is a crazy shot. You mentioned how they were ironclad on the C exec, and now they get punished for it. And now look at Zerona! Takes the risk, and it pays off handsomely. The ace denied, but Joa, good for the follow-up. Good for the 9th round for SAD. What a play over the pit.
Over his own pit, too.
Yeah.
Zerona. I love that. Love that from Zerona. It's still overall sad. It's not like we haven't seen opportunities here for Prosperity again, they get themselves into that front line and they start asking so many questions. We got that first frag. Do we recollect? Do we attack? And by the time that they even get Manny into the right position for them to exit, I mean, you can't predict Zerona at that point, but you have to predict some sort of reply from Sad there. Unreal from Zerona. But here we go again. Magic on that front side. Armageddon to clear up a little bit. Jawa does actually go down there to ISO, so it's not like Sad isn't used to this one. You know, they've consistently gone down by a player in the early round. And what is this? They've cleared the site entirely. Jerwin has all this information. Now they can lock out the defuse. Zerona gets a kill onto Manny, and the defuse gets canceled. Now there's Vantic. Vantic coming out on the flank. Does kill Jerwin, but it's 2 men remaining here for Prosperity. Make it only 1, of course, because of the ultimate. Vantic doesn't have an eye on the defuse and will not get himself into this round. 10 rounds from Sad coming out of the first half.
And wow. I mean, again, Prosperity had a plan in mind after the execution. Armageddon to clear out deep space, the Rolling Thunder to fight into the A-Link pinch, and just the reactivity again to pop the Annihilation from Benji, to full scale from Jerwin. And I was looking at this fight over towards Paler because Manny seemed like he knew that Zerona was there, heard the footsteps outside of C, and just losing out that fight meant every single plan was going south to the side of Prosperity. Now, this was a 13-11 last time these two teams met. And I thought that it was going to be closer as a result of now having that experience under your belt, but it seems the opposite.
It just hurts because it's not like these rounds haven't had the progress there for Prosperity. You know, it's 10-2. It's 10-2. That's all I really need to say. The fact that these rounds have been so close and we're still looking at a 10-2 scoreline, it's excruciating here if you're a Prosperity fan. But on this front line now, Prosperity looking to push the situation. 4 players all on this front side, all looking to knock down Sad, but it just does not happen. Iso, the only one with a kill onto Zerona. And it's not like Manny can't do anything here, but Jerwin is going to get a nasty surprise, but no surprise for Jerwin. And a couple body shots too. Like, oh, you think I wouldn't expect that? I'm familiar with your game.
And again, Prosperity, plan in mind, but the reactivity from Sad, too capable, right? The speed in which they, you know, hinged and fought those 2 players over towards Pillar, it's just impressive. And now, I mean, okay, Magic's accepting his fate at this point. The 3 kills for Joa, they were at the crux, I think, of fighting the Pillar players. Like, 11-2, when you're looking at 10-2, that pistol is a must. And you saw the desperation and the aggressive pinch play style once Presence was out C. But, well, what do? You have to Stinger Force, right?
Yes, I would hope so. I mean, it's way too far of a gap for you to really think about economy, for you to, you know, start thinking about conditioning or anything like that. Oh yeah, rip the Stingers, rip them. Marshall's coming out, couple upgrades coming out. Big round from Prosperity. Let's see what they got cooking in the kitchen, cooking in the cookage. You got 4 players here over towards A, and Jerwin is already going to strike down onto one of them. I mean, the attempts are there. At least they're called attempts for a reason, Zobi.
I'm impressed Magic didn't get hit by that first outlaw shot. But, I mean, the follow-up from Zerona. I feel like Zerona and Jerwin are the unexpected duo of this map, right? And, I mean, Annie, who I guess the most expensive weapon in this bunch, the Marshall, able to shut down a C exec. But, again, that's your lurk player. It was more of a nice to have, not a necessity for the round to be won. And so they're going to get a nice occupied B site. Going to get the sensor, the deadlock defenses up and procced. Now it falls to, again, heroic plays from individual players like Manny, who upgraded to the Guardian, but low HP from the engagement. It's quick work for that Phantom that was forced out by Sad.
The Guardian almost had a chance there, but you're facing red hot Zerona right now. Oh. What a player. And here comes Vantic and Iso. Hold on now. What was this? What was this V formation here? You guys thought that no, victory was surely in the hands, but hold on now. Iso with a bit of a chance. He has the 1-on-2. Zerona bouncing in a couple of bullets. And of course, you do have a little bit of use still from the Tejo. And the round is done for. No time here for Iso to get that defuse. It was never really any drama with the Tejo still around. That is going to hurt. That is going to hurt. It actually hurts a lot. It just gives Prosperity a chance in this round, though. That's all it really does.
Yeah, Joa lost that Phantom. They had 2 Phantoms, right? You know, losing an Outlaw, losing some Stingers, it's okay. After the deadlock net play fails or falls short. And I mean, mention it. It's a slim chance as now they have to win 10 in a row to get to overtime, but one nonetheless, because of how battered and bruised they are off of that bonus, it's now non-existent. Or you just force up, right? You're that confident. You've won how many? I'm counting. I'm caster. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 rounds in a row.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that number. You made a mistake, you know, even trying to count here on stream. You already know how it is with commentators and numbers. Not good. Manny here on site, though. Well, yeah, things can go a little bit better for him, as indeed he stands tall. Manny with a quick frag, but not going to be able to get more. In fact, it's actually Benji to land on his feet and pick himself 2 frags. Sad down by a 4v2, and Benji starts things off with a bare minimum. Jawa, oh my goodness! Deleted. I mean, straight eviscerated, but still, here comes Benji around the corner. Magic is going to be able to take him out, and there you go. Magic pulling something off here for Prosperity, and I think that's what's been missing here for Prosperity. Let your players play the video game. Just let them do the thing. It's Neon. They can go fast, right? Neon go fast, Neon win.
Yeah, I mean, condition here again. I mentioned how it's hard with the setup to have a strong, widened map control, and you abuse the flank. They have a deadlock who's putting their sensors on site for Benji to stall out the retake, but Neon can get ahead like this. You clear out a main, you push all the way through while they're execing C. And I mean, the paranoia was perfection as well from Vantic, so all of that finally culminates in a round 1. They break the streak here. They break the economy minus the hero rifle from Jawa as well. So 9 more to go, and another A fight. This time a solo Zerona. Might have to get a dodge here quick.
Manny feeling a little bit of pressure, but does not care. Gonna have an Omen in the front lines, but oh my goodness. Barely a pixel of the waylay goes by. Jerwin is deleted.
How did Zerona get there?
And here comes Yuki. Manny able to get 2, and that is going to be the C site taken up, but you have to say Sad had a bit of a chance over towards that C site, and it gets denied there by Prosperity. And of course we gotta entertain Zerona here. My Zerona.
I've been thinking that the entire stream waiting to use it, and I just haven't gotten to. You stole it anyways. I think I'm just super impressed right now by the ways that these new compositions are coming up with abilities to anchor the C site, right? Like we saw a solo Omen, we've seen, you know, Jarwin and Viper, and now we're seeing a Clove and a Teho, for crying out loud. I mean, the Outlaw, the follow-up from the Phantom, the stun for delay, all of it's great.
Toxins going up.
Okay. There we go. Again, a challenge onto the C site. And it looks like, again, it's just Manny here, upgrading finally to the Phantom. Playing so far forward because they know they have the not dead yet back online. And some contemplation about how to conquer this round, right? We talked about that hero rifle getting forced up for Joa. And Benji's saying, hey, I'll take one for the team. You have the Armageddon. You're more important this round than I am. And I can be the lurk player here off of my sensor towards C. But this is kind of what I wanted to see from them. They were going very direct, very death ball approach. You know, you got egos after winning 10 rounds. You got 1 more to cap it off and win your opponent's pick. And that's the issue.
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Just like that, they're done. You gotta give it up to the stop, though, early on here from Prosperity. Sad just boxed.
And there we go. I mean, that's what's so interesting about, again, these compositions is you're like, okay, we're expecting to be attack-sided, and then suddenly they're defense-sided. And, I mean, Sad, again, all it takes is 1 round, and right now they're in this buy, sell, buy, or buy, save kind of dynamic. And again, they have yet to win A control. They've yet to win the C site outright because of the individual prowess of Manny. And I think what I really need to see from them is don't use the ults this round. I want you to take the weapons and deathball A main. Figure out a way to finally beat Magic out because that's the difficulty right now. You're not having any widespread control. Your lurk player who was fragging up a storm the first half, Zerona, isn't able to have much impact here. All it takes is 1 round. And for the time being, they're going to kind of recycle a strat, go back towards C here, see if they can strong hand their way onto these eco weapons. Oh.
Let's have some fun here. Yuki on the front side with the shotty, and Manny again still with that still with the rifle, but nobody from Sad able to invade here. Tuzi had a chance and Benji had no chance. never bursts out of the smoke, never shows a pixel, and still goes down.
I had one ask, don't use the ults.
Please don't. Yeah, they're tempted.
They used the Annihilation. They already used one. And I mean, the YouTube combo was clean, right? The refract was beautiful, the paranoia follow-up, but none of the kills after the fact, minus Manny went their way. And Manny could have come back to life and just decided not to. Trusts in the team. And please let them trust in the team correctly, Vantic. You don't have to take these egregious fights. You have control. Minus where Zerona has slipped the net. You have your Neon jiggling backside B link, but you didn't spot out top mid. Oh, not like this. Oh.
Here we go.
No.
Too slow.
Okay, they said no, the easy way. I mean, this is gonna be a plant, at least on the B site. And they got an overdrive out on Nico round. So these are some nice wins in the sad book for the time being, but a 2v4 here, Sheriff and Marshall in hand, and now a drone. I mean, you can isolate maybe a 1v1 onto Yuki here if you get the proper timing. Oh, they got spotted, and it should all crumble. One more taken down by Joe, but all in all, it's still going to be another Prosperity round. 6 more to go.
It's still a lot more to go here. Prosperity still got that advantage, but it does seem like Sad just figuring out little by little. It's just the fact that Sad, whenever they've been stopped here by Prosperity, they were stopped well earlier in their track. All right, so stepping into sight, definitely a bit of an advantage, or a bit of a progress shift. But here comes again a big round for Prosperity, where I think there might just be a little bit too much weight here potentially on Magic. These early plays from Magic, it's that
Here it comes.
that potentially has affected this team a little bit in the past. Listen, one round is all that does it. One bad play is all that does it. Magic, you don't want to give up your life early, but again, he's looking for it. But
What did I say?
The ulti's going in, but still nothing actually working out here for the attackers, and instead here's Vantic TPing all the way into the back. Jerwin is able to get the trade, but there goes Yuki. Yuki does get the trade back, but this is just a warp. Manny all the way over in Mound, able to make the rotation through C. Now it's all on Tuesday. Tuesday in a 1-on-2. Again, just to break that down, Sad, they were broken apart in their own spawn. Prosperity put on all that pressure. Now it's all on Tuesday. 1-on-2.
Oh. Follow-up should be good. The trade should be secured, and both are actually going to walk away with their lives from the defuse. And we got to break that round down. Please. So much just happened there. You said it takes one, and I was waiting for that one. I'm like, you got the ults, you got the weapons, you just need to find a way to shut down A control. And they had a plan, a great one at that, right? Armageddon, force the Neon out, you know. But the Rolling Thunder, perfect, number one. Number two, I don't know if you saw this, but a cloak and an Omen smoke were popped in spawn so that Vantic could, from the shadows, you have to guess which one he's in. And the guessing game goes south. Prosperity with all of those duels. And Vantic, I mean, I've never seen that play off of a double controller. And that's just so funny in a VCL promo relegation match like this, to keep Prosperity in it, to get their 7th. That's so funny. I don't even
No, again, you love to see it from a team that came from Ranked, that came directly from Premier. Prosperity, love to see the old matchmaking specials coming out a little bit. But there's Zerona taking out Vantic, but he's gonna get swiftly traded away. Manny, needing to back away, has a smoke in his face. There's a shorty. He's still not able to do anything with it. He does have a target. Yuki still able to get another kill onto Benji, and Yuki just railing the players going through sight here. Jawa, Jerwin, however,
gotta survive.
This was 4v2. Now it's down to a 2v2. Jawa and Jerwin winning some crucial one-on-ones. Now there's a big reset. B has actually been taken up immediately. Not only was it a bit of a reset, a bit of a moment to breathe, but Jawa just acts immediately, speeding through B, speeding through
Magic
A.
hears it.
And Jerwin's all the way over on C.
Yeah, I mean, they're 2 HP, right? They thought they had to play it that way. But again, the speed heard. And I mean, I wish they had just stayed and fought Yuki. Well, they knew Yuki was alone, right? Magic had just got the kill on B. It was going to take a second, even with the high gear, to rotate over. But again, question of too slow of pacing this round, maybe lack of confidence with the low HP here for your star duelist. All in all, 30 seconds left, a 1v2. Should, keyword should, be another round for Prosperity in this situation, but let's see how it pans out.
Magic Doesn't actually have full line of sight
10
on the
seconds
spike,
left.
so technically a chance here for Jerwin. And
I'm outta
again,
here.
you're really not going to see much here. Magic does have the dash.
What are you doing?
Now this one is for the eco too. They could wait for Jerwin to stay alive there and maybe just try to take away the gun and keep him at the eco that he's at right now. But all good. 8-12 Prosperity. It's the result that you expected there off of the 2v1. But well played at the very beginning once again. Sad being forced down to that 2v4. And Prosperity, you got to give it up once again. Yuki this time being the one to hold things down in their front line.
And my questions now come out. Where's the timeout for Sad? I mean, I'm looking again at this composition and I'm like, comparatively, right, to a Breach Taeho combination, you don't have these kind of forcible ultimates. Maybe the Annihilation in combination with the Armageddon, but again, those are the two they're waiting on before having that pot shot strategy to close out now in 4. And just as we see maybe a change up, it's actually Prosperity to take that initiative, fight forward, C, find an opening kill and get out. They're not taking risks they don't have to.
Instead, now a lot of pressure is put onto Zerona. Zerona
Right here.
stepping up one-on-one onto Manny, around to A potentially. Looking for the smoke to drop down. But as we see, a bit of an effort, maybe potentially some noise here from Zerona, an interaction at least to keep these players onto A. Progress on B here for Sad.
Okay. And I mean, 2 players ready to receive here. Magic, Yuki, Armageddon's online as well, just to reclaim this space. Fault line really working against Magic in this situation, keeps him boxed, gives an opportunity to Benji. Manny at least will cut off a loose end there against Zerona, but all in all, it's given up the B site, right? Wall deployed, some safety secured. Question is, which player heroically steps forward to get numbers advantage back in their favor? Looks like Jawa's trying to be that factor. You know where Manny was, stairs. Your player ceiling, but that's all you know.
Still Benji just looking for an excuse here to use this Annihilation. But again, this is an extreme lack of space here for Prosperity. Time is ticking. They're finally stepping up here. Benji waiting for the call. Huge flick on the flash.
Oh no.
Able to deflect away from it. Benji, whoa! Missed shot from Jawa. There's still the one-on-one. Vantic going for the defuse. Jawa! The missiles are gonna miss! And Vantic still doesn't go for the defuse! Maybe a chance there for Vantic, but he didn't want to take it. Goes for the one-on-one, and Sad Esports gonna come out of the one-on-one with map number 1.
And as soon as Benji got that 2 kills off of the Armageddon, off of the fault line, kind of felt like a little bit of a breakdown at the micro level for the side of Prosperity. And that was the opening that Sad needed. What was a 6-6 half last time these 2 teams faced off ends in a 10-2 disaster where Sad stumble and maybe trip a little bit, but all in all, they still walk away with a 13-8 victory. They still walk away with stealing away Prosperity Esports map pick in this best of 3.
Yeah, and Sad again, once they got to that 12-2 basically, they got so deep into this game that the rounds after, yes, that we ended up seeing be successful for Prosperity, it's not exactly going to be an indicator for the future. Sad Esports, they still have to back pocket a little bit. They still have, both of these teams still have a big game tomorrow, but that's off to the side. Lotus is done for now. Sad Esports, yes, moving on to that second map, even though it might have been, we could say that it could have been done more like 15 minutes ago, but still regardless, we're going to send it over to a break and we're going to send it over to the desk to try to break things down and intro map number 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to promotion relegation of the VALORANT Challengers League in North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Gompers. And if you're just joining us, buckle up, because boy, do we have a day for you. I literally, Gompers knows this. I was like, oh, I'm just not gonna go to the bathroom because we're gonna be like back soon. And then Prosperity kept going and going and going and going. And if you're just joining us or you're not sure what we're talking about, it was 12-2, everyone, folks. Friends, it was 12-2, and then it could have been so. Like, I do think they could have stuck that spike last.
Yeah.
We end with a 13-8 with Prosperity losing their map pick to NA Esports Gompers.
Listen, they did bring it up, which I highly respect, because, you know, I feel like match point is like when I'm clenching personally. Like, that doesn't feel great. And the fact that they managed to get so many rounds is an achievement of its own. I do think Magic was such a big source of that, right? Kind of stepping a little bit more into the Neon role down towards that second half. Wasn't looking too hot in the beginning. But overall, like, listen, Prosperity were just insane. I think, again, big deterrent. Jerwin from the first half with the op really just taking everybody down. It became almost impossible to get past Jerwin on any site, any circumstance. And then Zerona really taking a step up during that second half. So it's nice to know, you know, like, regardless of the circumstance, there is going to be that person that is going to take that step. Zerona, by the way, got 5 first bloods as the Viper. I just want to let you guys know. So, you know, on the attacking side, do we really need a Reyna, a Jet, or any other duelist? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out eventually, but it's crazy the way that this game was played. And I really do have to give kudos to Prosperity because they're feeling the heat.
It was one of those moments where I was like, oh, you know, like they weren't taking a timeout in the second half, I believe, Prosperity. Like, right, it was like 12-3 or 12-2, and I was like, okay, you know, they're done, right? Like, they understand it's a GG, go next. Like, that's a great way to reset your mental. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But then it was just the things they were coming up with and just kind of this, like, almost like, you know, we ball whatever it may be kind of mentality. That's what we were talking about before, Gompers. That sort of like no stress, just go vibes. That's what we were looking for. And even in the end, like I said, that 12-8 spike defusal, that could have been stuck. I think we'd have to like break it down frame by frame, but just by the eye test, that I think that could have been stuck. So if I'm Prosperity, you know what? That wasn't too bad.
No, it really was not. And the fact that, like, you know, they could have gone great. They could have gotten 12, 13-2. Like, this is not terrible. And they really did, like, they did scare Sad to possibly being on the loser side or going down to that OT. Of course, like, in the beginning, it was really just, like, a lot of hiccups from Prosperity. And I think eventually, like, the adaptations came a little late, but they learned from their mistakes. They were constantly playing by themselves, taking these 1v1s, overanalyzing every single step, every single move, and it felt like they were trying to overcompensate, but they didn't need to. They have such solid players on their team. They have Manny, they have Magic, Iso, Vantic, Yuki, everyone, literally everyone. Like, use your members of your team, use the youth that you have, set up Magic for success. The Neon is such a detrimental player. You have so many stuns. Like, they should all have not even moved any duration of the game. I feel like there's so much opportunity for this team in terms of this composition. And of course, the deadlock wasn't even that great of a deterrent this time. So they definitely learned from their last performance, for sure.
I think another thing to point out is that kind of the kill spread that we're seeing on the side of Prosperity, Gompers, it's pretty even, all things considered, and considering kind of how we ended the first half and got ended the second half, or started the second half, and then ended the second half. All things considered, that's looking like everyone's pulling their weight. Everyone's feeling, you know, present. Everyone's feeling like they're, you know, they're shooting, if you will. So that, you know, do we call that like a warm-up game or whatever it may be? But going into the map pick of Haven, it's not their map pick. But again, that sort of idea that we were talking about, right? Of just kind of this like, all right, like we've adapted, we've learned, we've grown. Sometimes you warm up and it's a terrible warm up. We say in theater, bad dress, good show, right? In my theater days, if you have a bad dress rehearsal, your show, your opening night will go amazing, right? And it's kind of like maybe we can apply that here. Like, you had a weird Lotus, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Prosperity Esports looked me in the eyes. It was weird. It was odd. But you go to Haven, and it's not. Honestly, you can just go for it, Gompers.
Haven. Oh man, this is like kind of like in the middle for me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know how I feel about this one. I really do think coming from like the loss, you know, but I guess I guess not really a loss because at the end of the day, like you were losing, but then you slayed for a little bit and now you're in the middle. So I'm gonna say that they're feeling themselves just a little more than they were originally. Just because you're coming from a game that you really thought was just gonna be an absolute bust, and it does just mess up with your mental as a whole. But this gives you time to recoup and understand we're not terrible. This team is not having a good day. We're just having a bad one. So let's just step it up. Let's take the extra step and let's make sure that we can win this Haven round. Of course, again, even with that best of 3, Icebox is still a very, very scary place to be. So, they have to figure out what is going to stop SAD Esports from feeling, this synergy that how are we going to get their mental down? Maybe BM in the chat. No, I'm kidding, guys. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. They were, to be fair, Prosperity were shooting bodies. It was 12-5, and they were out there shooting everybody they saw. So, but I think maybe that's like a good, like an akin to or not akin, evidence of just how they are feeling and how, even like when you're down 12-5 and it's maybe not looking too hot, maybe that was a super messy round. It's like, yeah, boys, we did it, kind of vibe, like, literally, right? That sort of mentality. But like you said at the beginning of the pre-show, the broadcast, that does so much, Gompers. Yeah. The emotional leadership and the emotional maturity just to say, hey, this is wacky, but we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. I know that for the audience may seem silly, and I know it may seem a little bit, like we're not taking this seriously, but what that does as a competitor, when that pressure is off, I think you've seen, if you've joined us in Challengers before, I forget who says it in the video, but they say like everyone feels pressure. I don't believe anyone doesn't feel pressure, right? But when you alleviate that pressure and you make it good pressure, right? You allow that, pressure makes diamond kind of thing, pressure makes diamonds kind of thing. It can really do amazing stuff. Like just for an audience, so for an example, imagine, when your game just isn't going well, so you decide to just run it down and have fun. How many of you have gotten 4 because of that? Because you're just inhibitions gone, anxiety's gone, and you just get 4 because you can and you will, right? It's that sort of mentality. I want you to apply that with what we are talking about right now, because it can really do wonders. And if you're on the side of SAD Esports, that got scary, to be frank. That should have been in the bag a very long time ago. You capitalized on a thrifty round 2, brilliantly. I literally wrote down, I just wrote question mark for that round on the side of Prosperity. And then all of a sudden you're not able to show the SAD Esports that we were seeing in the beginning, in the first half.
Yeah. Right.
So it's kind of this, right now, I don't call it a battle of wits. That's the wrong word, Gompers. But I would say it's a battle of an accumulation and acclimation of emotion. Oh,
I
those
agree.
Are good words.
Acclamation and emotion. We're getting a little dictionary in here. But yeah, it is really like, it is a mental game at the end of the day. Just because we're not running around on a field and catching footballs, like it doesn't mean we're not also taking that that mental and physical stress from being in a competitive format. And again, like cortisol levels start to get high when you're losing. You start to think differently and stress yourself out even more, overanalyze stuff like that. But I think they handled themselves well. It really is about regaining their composure. For me, it's also about like, what can the IGL offer you? The IGL is such a, people think it's mostly like, oh, they call the shots and that's it. It's a lot more than that. As an IGL, you have to put your team back in the same format they were from the start of the game. Make sure they understand that every round is a different round. And then also, just have everyone follow along with the plans that they're all looking to make happen. So it is such a difficult, skill to have and role to have as well. But I think they're doing such a good job on Prosperity of keeping this team in line and also just having the strat work and looking for that plan B. So for me, I'm really excited to see what exactly they have going on. But, obviously ISO on Joa, not necessarily something we haven't seen before on Haven. Again, this is a map favorite for them. So the ISO seems to work. I like it. They use it very diligently with just eliminating, whether it be on the defensive side, eliminating the push from the attacker, on the attacking side, right? Taking out whoever might be, creating that obscurity within any site that they want to start pushing. So I think this is a very good combat to the kind of Prosperity, and I guess more so maybe what the Breach might be able to offer is going to be a little difficult though. So I don't know. I'm just more so interested in seeing how they're going to work around having Neon on, Magic on that Neon again.
I mean, it's that Breach Neon, right? Like that is a quintessential classic. What are you gonna do when you're breach done and all of a sudden Magic is behind you, giving you a haircut, you know? That sort of thing. But, you know, it is one more map to finish off this seeding match of promotion relegation. Maybe, I don't have the scripts, maybe can Prosperity Esports bring us to a map 3? And I know just who to send it to. Well, I run to the bathroom after that. It is Zobi and Upmind.
Thank you so much, Liz and Gompers, for a great breakdown of map 1. But it is time for Haven. Time to possibly close us out 2-0 unless Prosperity can steal away Sad Esports map pick, a map they themselves have not even played as a core 5 Upmind.
No, they have not. Technically, they have, but okay.
And a sub. It wasn't the core 5.
Yeah, yes. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Not with the core 5. Yes, with a sub, and it's just. Again, we're looking for some sort of pocket pick here from either one of these teams before the game, of course, where, you know, Prosperity, they could push Sad a little bit up against the corner, but we were throwing out picks like Sunset. We were throwing out picks like Split. But Haven, yes, it's a little bit more consistent of a pick. It's a bit more confident in the fact that it's a Valorant map. Like, it's the quintessential Valorant map a little bit. But it's just the fact that Prosperity Esports, again, we don't know what to expect. And some of these players in a hugely important game might not be that confident.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, we were talking about this. We're like, Haven, a pick for Sad, it was so smart because they kind of forced, right, that Icebox as a decider, a map they're already confident on. They've already bodied Prosperity on during the Swiss stage. And now, I mean, after you 10-2'd, yes, there was a bumpy, journey to close. You're running the ego comp for Haven. I think it'll work really, really well versus Prosperity. I mean, while their confidence in the speed is there and the first blood is, we'll have to see huge strokes from them.
Somehow, Zerona is able to escape out of Garage 2 with his life. We were about to see 2 quick picks from Prosperity. It's sad, they already have a big response here. 2Z deep into mid, and that's an even bigger cam. Spotting out the player in bottom mid, not something that really Manny was expecting, but it is a gift on a silver platter. And an even bigger gift here is the fact that A is wide open.
Nice pivot. I mean, you found the first blood there. Following through is key when you saw so many players on your grass default as well. Towards Garage, towards C. But looking at the speed of the flood, and they already had 2 players deposited in the graffiti, and no one cleared it out because they were holding back sight. I mean, to grab some kills along the way, you finally crunch all those remaining players, but trades upon trades. And Prosperity, they come out on top for their first pistol of the series.
I mean, we'll take that. We'll take that. Absolutely. Good job responding to the quick rotation coming in from Sad, but I mean that's about it, isn't it? Prosperity can stay in Saw the same exact way that they started map number 1, but Sad again with the pistols. We were already able to see a bit of a reply. So once again, like what was the term I used before? The jumping pistols. You know, may they be jumping again.
And thank you for that correction. My apologies. But that's the issue, is that they only won the pistol in the follow-up for that half. So we're going to be looking beyond that, even if it is the attack side of Haven. And again, if you're strong, you know, you're confident in your A takes, leaning towards there again on the buy is a safe route, especially when you don't want to challenge B, you don't want to challenge Garage where shotguns could be lurking in the dark. And I like this little trap play, try to punish Manny, draw him in, and Zerone is there as well. Not going to bite just yet, but silence here. You can see it eating away at Sad. They're like, we gotta wait. And Jerwin finally gets the contact.
That's all it is, just a contact. No bullets going back and forth just yet. 2Z not getting caught out by the drone. And Prosperity, they've actually sandwiched themselves a little bit over towards long. They smoke on the front side though of short. It's not going to be there for too long. They were waiting for that smoke to go down. Good wait there from Prosperity, and indeed they're going to take advantage going forward. Manny, ISO collecting frags. Sad, they've cleared out of sight, and even those who aren't even in sight right now, they still go down. Zerona down through the smoke. Jawa alongside Benji. He's trying to make something out of this round. Really just trying to make an economic poke into this round, but gotta give it up to Prosperity. That was an extremely smart look from them, coming out of that long side, waiting for the smoke.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the site clear, the re-clears from pistol to this round is so clean. Not letting any antics of the site smoke slip through, but they will accidentally let a kill from Jowish slip through with the Sheriff. Even reads the reflink from Manny, but can't. Too much HP loss. And all in all, I think the idea there was to charge up that kill contract, right? But Benji doesn't want to hand any ult orbs over, especially when, because of the heroic opening from Yuki, look, you're 3 off from Armageddon already.
unbelievable pacey util to have. And it's not like Sad here doing much else to actually try to get themselves back into this game, at least off of that last round. This next round is really it. If they lose this round, they're going to be facing Armageddon immediately. They're going to have to go down to the pistols once again. I mean, Prosperity, now more than ever, they've actually established themselves. They've given themselves already a chance to stay comfortable here in the second map.
And that's my difficulty is right now they're completely disrespecting A on the side of Prosperity. So I want to see them away for them to get ahead, and their comp just doesn't lend to that. You don't have a Breach Star. You don't really have a Taeho missile. And so you can't. And you saw them kind of contemplating, okay, let's get aggressive down grass, but because there's so much utility already coming towards the C-split, they are again forced to play reactively instead of proactively. We'll see if the better weapons can hopefully keep things intact.
This is good here for Sad. Okay, Jawa. What a reply there. What a setup there from Sad. Multi-layered retake there, essentially, of Garage as one player trying to just slide in, showing the raw look. Jawa from up top, sweeping away the rest of Garage, and Prosperity. They're still tempting. C period. It's going to be a lot easier. It's only going to be the Cypher. You say only, but Benji has all the trips ready and raring to go, and he's in a real comfortable spot.
Yeah, we're gonna get the first taste of a Benji side anchor here. Spotted out, now forced out by the salvos as well. You have to win this kill long, and unfortunately Yuki with the Bulldog wins it out. So that opens up the players from Garage to take this space pretty much unimpeded. No support coming out. Now, I mean, you're down numbers, you need that it factor, and I was already trying to clear out the extremities, and you've lost more players to CT spray. I don't even think they needed that Armageddon use, but they're gonna do it anyways.
One enemy remaining.
And Armageddon is at least going to hold off Tuzi from being able to trade Jawa. Jawa left completely on his lonesome, and the Armageddon was just worth it just for the lane shutdown, but gotta question that. If we're being honest here for Prosperity, Armageddon, it still takes a whole lot of ult orbs, even though we're not talking about you know, the new Armageddon. We're still talking about an Armageddon that takes 8 points to get. It's gonna take a while, and it's kind of a, you know, it's a V formation, as I was saying earlier. It's a bit of a dub there if you have it in a late round.
And like we said, we're harping on using it that early, but if we think about it, we think about the momentum, we think about how it was a 10-2 where they only won the pistol in the follow-up on Lotus. That's the third. That's the confidence, the snowball that can avalanche into a close or a productive half favoring Prosperity here. Which again, it's attack side at Haven. It's a must for this map.
Yeah, not exactly, you know, not too many negatives here. Definitely nitpicking, to say the very least. Prosperity, you know, they're the ones winning right now. You know, I don't think there's much wrong with that. But these Sheriffs doesn't have much of a positive outlook. Manny is going to be able to pick down that first. There's also a man watching over towards A long, and a trip in the back. Like, what? There's so many insurance options here for Prosperity. Zerona to be able to get a pick off, but where did Benji even come from? Benji just slides in behind Magic and actually almost able to get himself a second kill off of that. But we move, we ball. Sad has a big round coming up.
Yeah. We've now seen some creative eco ways they're trying to disrupt this A take, but Manny too clean on the flank hole, very, you know, playing from protective angles. And I think what I really need to see, I think that's what they're leaning towards, and I asked for it a few rounds ago, is a way to get ahead of this A side of aggression. And again, they've tried the kind of nuanced, inadvertent ways, and they haven't just tried to fight it head on. And I think that's what the aim is this round, right? Your Yoru's there with a gate crash spawn to support Benji, but all the utility I'm expecting to come out here. Paranoia, deep shocks, deep dart, and maybe even a contingency to scale up long. That's what we need here.
Over and long, Prosperity instead, they only put out a single piece of util, and that already holds the players from Sad here on A at least long enough for these players from Prosperity to at least poke at B.
I think they were aware that if they kept going A, they were going to find a way to fight it head on because they're confident in their mechanics. They just beat you on Lotus. And now you're requiring them to pick up the pieces on a light side of the map where, yep, you have German because of the gate crash, but all in all, 3 players, you're going to be guaranteed a trade here, hopefully.
It doesn't matter. Magic's able to pick up the frag onto Jerwin.
Look at this trip.
In the back here, Benji doesn't actually have a one-way off of this cage, but the trip right there in the middle, he has the trap, but it doesn't even matter. Man doesn't walk into the trip just yet. He still has it right next to him, and he has a smoke right next to him. This is huge for Benji. Still Jawa able to get the kill onto Manny. These players cannot get past the front of sight. Zerona with the frag. There goes the trip, and there goes a double from Benji. Caged them all up and said, able to take advantage. Beautifully done by Benji.
Wow. Really, really, really nice. I asked for the Benji side anchor. It fell flat last time, but the support of that spike smoke from Tuesday after the cage falls out. Got one kill after another, and even the other cage as well. Allows him to get the kill long onto Manny, who again usually plays off, gets back to the site to have that impact. And we're good to go. So, Sad on the board off of what you mentioned was going to be an important rifle round. Now, looks like they're going to sell an A-fake off the salvos. In reality, they really want to get this C site challenge head on. They want to overwhelm, dash the confidence of Benji.
Go, go, go.
Oh, no battle to have here around the C site. You're going to have Benji. The setup out in the middle of the site. Does have a tripwire. Does maybe have a pick, but he was looking at his cam. Down on the one-on-one. Going to win it out, but still a little bit risky.
I'm out
Here
of
for
here.
Prosperity. Magic on the front side. My goodness. And that burst up from Zerona. Huge chances from Sad, but they're not able to do anything with it. Tuzi and Jawa, however, able to return back a couple of frags. And this is beautiful here for Sad. However, Yuki, 1-on-3. And on the 1-on-2, not able to take down Jerwin. Sad, they respond immediately.
Yeah, Prosperity in the C site here. Again, you're worried about Benji. You're worried about the reflood. It's questionable that they kind of gave up what was winning for them, which was this A main, this A side fight and focal point, which is why I think they're starting to finally lean back that way. But all in all, this was really, really clean, right? Benji realizing I can't anchor the site every time. I get out CT, I play retake off the kill contract with my team. And now this is what I was waiting for is, we talked about the change Sad main. We talked about they were finally seized to fight A main. I want to see it. Prosperity fight it head on, and every single time they're kind of leaning away from it.
Zerona. He's going to be able to find anything here, and actually Prosperity at the same time. Perfect ground here over in the middle of B. Jawa, he is going to get a contact here, but this is going to be it. Does Magic actually want to fight this? And indeed, the whole team does. TP into the middle of the site, wall up. Zerona not going to be able to find a gap, and neither is Jawa. Plan is going to go down, and we're still down to a 5-on-5, even strength. Here's the first Vantic. Tries to get the first, not able to do much, but Magic 7 bursting through the back, able to get 2, but needs a whole lot more. 3 more on the other side of his screen, and oh my goodness, the damage is there. Benji goes down a little bit, but the trade is not there for Manny. Manny had a line of sight into the spike. If he gets that first pick, boy, it's a chance against the second, but no sir, it is Sad with a third.
And I'm getting flashbacks to how they wanted that Armageddon re-clear to work on the side of Prosperity. And I mean, that was a great job at it, I'll say, from Magic, but it was really Magic alone, right? The rest of the players kind of caught out. Players from Sad making their way in through C-Link was really, really strong. Again, leveraging the full kit of the reposition from Jerwin and that gate crash. So, all in all, it's difficult to say the least, but I mean, the fact that it ended up here over towards C, again, nice little setup, but I think we're getting that timeout from Prosperity, so we're looking back at all of the rounds here. And again, Prosperity, I like the proactivity this time, right? Because they realize, okay, it can snowball really quick in favor of Sad like it did over on Lotus. And they made a change in my mind again without having to, but it's very been proactivity.
Honestly, what I really liked about about just this last round in comparison to what we saw in the first half of this half, Prosperity, they've been poking at B almost every single round. We've seen Magic with presence multiple times in the middle of the map, and nothing was ever done for Prosperity into B. Sad always had some sort of presence there in the later parts of the round because of that. It did just kind of break apart that rotation a little bit, break apart that attention from Sad. It's the small things that Prosperity needs to do to be proactive, like you were saying. So it is good that Prosperity has some of these setups here, but Sad, they're doing a better job at those reactions now. Back down to 3-4 score line, but Jawa not able to do much. Nobody able to do anything. Players are safe into the middle of sight, and Magic bursts on through. Is he looking for a third? Of course he's looking for a third, but can he find the third? No, sir. Izo does pick up Zerona still. Vantic with another kill onto Jerwin, and now it's all just falling apart for Sad. They had the right util here on site. They had the right players surrounding C, but Prosperity, they hold W and it works.
I mean, not just that, but you mentioned the reactivity out of SAD and how that's been a calling card victory. I mean, Iso there, that was insanity, right? Benji easily should have gotten the trade or the protection kill onto Jawa, right? But the flashpoint comes through, so you get that. And then you have, okay, we're good, we're still okay. The Sova from window, right, should be able to also clean things up, but then it's his aftershock, right? And they get the refrag off of a stinger. So the eco goes their way, the timeout transition goes their way, unlike Lotus, and they stay ahead on Haven.
It's gonna be a quick start to this next round. They're gonna get the stun going into long A, but Prosperity, they're only gonna hold a player there just to try to see if they can get a one-on-one against Jerwin. It's gonna be, oh, okay, interesting. Just to try to get the peak. And it's just the man presence here. Yuki is going to stay here for a long time. The rest of his teammates heading over towards C at the moment. It is going to be Benji. Benji has been having one of his better BO3s realistically of the entirety of challengers for him. He's been making some very good defensive plays here.
Going out.
And has yet another opportunity in this round. Double trips in front of him with the cam, and you just have Yuki being so annoying here over towards A. And he's just going to be stuck here completely on his lonesome, but he's holding 3 players here. He's holding 3 players here on A. This is beautiful stuff from Yuki. And here comes the exec. Does it work out for Prosperity? Absolutely it does. There's only one person here.
Yeah, I said I wanted to see how they fought head on to A, and they kind of faked that fight, like you mentioned. Yuki keeping those players tied up. Now they can set up really, really well on this B site, and now they're even set up to play proactive off of the Rolling Thunder into spawn, pushing all of these players back. Mentioned how it was wanting a team fight, and Magic followed up there really, really well by Iso, but they realized, okay, no one's taking the fight. They have dimensional drift. We're not gonna overstay our welcome. We're not gonna get surrounded out of garage. They refight during those positions and are winning them.
Just leads SAD completely out of this site, one by one, trying to attempt their burst back into C, and simply put, Prosperity had no problems in that round. Even over towards A, you know, the plan with the Tseho went out perfectly. Yuki was able to get 1 kill for his favor. Yes, he goes down at the very end, but he was able to hold 3 players over towards the A side. By that time that the plant ends up going down over towards C, one of the players is over in the middle of B, and the other one's still in long A. Beautiful stuff, at least in terms of that job being done. But after that, Prosperity, very strong hold in the back line, not allowing SAD to even come out of their spawn.
Okay, and now, I mean, they realize, okay, if Yuki can win the A fight, you know, take a few down, we can hopefully win the team fight if they were going to fight forward again on the side of SAD. But one round where they're actually digging their teeth in on A main control is one round where we don't see that ISO Yoru combo fight forward. Instead, it looks like they are going to go for a more proactive reclear. Don't let the side of Prosperity come to them, but it's just ever so slightly late. The drone here, if anything, if it spots out these players, it would have been like everybody rotate, and it's still going to be as soon as Yuki makes contact, you see 3, you know, okay, it's probably just a Cypher home on C. And Magic says, I've won this duel before, I'm going to win it again.
Yeah, this time really just trying to pull that same plan from last round, but just unnecessary, right? Because the pistols, you don't exactly need the man advantage. You don't exactly need, you know, the rotations getting pulled, but at least something there, just in case the stack was here for SAD here on the C site. Only one taking advantage of it so far. Vantic is going to go down. Super low HP. A single bullet from Tuzi gets him. Now we're down to 3-on-3. It's not like this is impossible here for SAD. Jawa. Jawa just bursts on out without any util, and he's still able to get a kill from it. 2 remaining here for both sides. Tuzi, Zerona, walk on out. Magic doesn't find it. What a shot from Zerona. Manny around the corner. And indeed goes around the bend to get both players. Bullets straight through the box to rip both.
And Manny, it doesn't matter. The Clove, the Cypher, beautiful job at standing his own, whether it's, you know, holding down the flank on ecos or clutching up the 1v2s in the post. And I was getting nervous there. That was a half-buy situation, right? It was a Stinger and a Sheriff. I mean, Vandal upgraded, but nonetheless, I was nervous. And you just run it down with a Vandal? Like, okay, the wallbang connects, you're good to go. You have an advantage now on the Haven side. And they finally commit, okay, we gotta put Cypher A. We think they haven't gone A in a very, very long time, and they are correct on this call.
Ooh, and it works out at least for Jerwin. Jerwin picks up Magic, and it's quickly going to be a one-on-one here for Vantic. Vantic does not take advantage there as Zerona, and in fact, A site, even though there's only 3 players left here for Prosperity, they still cleanly make their way into this A site, but look at the ultis in the hands of SAD. Zerona is ready with his Hunter's Fury. Jawa is also going to be ready to if he gets the opportunity, and absolutely he will. Manny one-on-one with Jawa. Jerwin wins out his war, and Jerwin is able to get himself a second frag at the same time. Sad, finally a clean round.
And again, a nice way to finally handle what kind of kicked off this map in a rough sort was being unable to handle it at Agazek, how clean it was out of Prosperity. So I liked that. It was kind of half commitment, right? I liked that, you know, Jerwin's aggression kind of hides the Cypher utilities impact and slowing things out, setting them up for those retakes you mentioned off the ultimates. And the fact that they keep the Hunter's Fury in the back pocket as well because of Jawa and the kill contract. Nice now to have coming into this last round and a half. And I'm surprised to see if Prosperity does try to run things back. It's just a similar fake out. And seems like Sad has called this kind of set up really well to counter the C-split. They usually have one player fighting Garage. You kind of hopefully have the Silva support there as well.
Yeah, this is probably the strongest look that we've seen from Sad here over on the C site, and it's still extremely disconnected. You still have two players basically back over towards spawn, and by the way the setup is here for Benji, these players are going to be way too close by the time he gets a contact, so he's just going to be stuck in the corner, and that's exactly what happens. Benji, Jawa goes down, Zerona forced to pick up the pieces, and that actually works out, but hold on a minute. Manny comes up from behind, strikes away Zerona. And the C-side is back.
Not as long as a stare down over on Lotus, but the impact found nonetheless. The 2v3 forced out. And, I mean, both coming from CT and Magic with 33 HP says, my life isn't worth it. I'll get some chip damage. So that my teammates can clutch it up. You trust him, Manny. He's won these before.
Huge paranoia. Do they know about Manny? It doesn't matter. That spot is very good for Manny. Can Manny back up into the smoke potentially? Can he crawl back? This is going to be a high-low. They know about Vantic, but they don't know about Manny. Manny takes away Tuzi, and there is a huge half from the chasing Prosperity.
18-4. Well done. On a map they've yet to play, and we talk about this, okay? Have they just not played it? Do they not prepared for it? Or have they been hiding it? And right now, it proves to be the latter. Again, maybe partially out of Sad not coming up with these adaptations fast enough. And then we will say this is also going to be the Sad stronger half. Again, this tried and true ISO Yoru. You know, notorious for the C-take simulator. But all in all, this round, I mean, it's showing how cleaned up the coordinated utility is, right? We were joking, saying, hey, they were taking a lot of solo fights. There wasn't much tradability in some of these exchanges. But this, I mean, Drone takes your Cypher out, Neon scales up, and they even get past the Hunter's Fury. So all that showcasing, you know, on to brighter pastures here in map 2, maybe even a chance at seeing Icebox in the distance.
For now, it's a pretty decent chance. Here comes Magic, just to try to make those chances just that little bit better, but no sir. Benji takes him out immediately, and that's just a meat grinder. Zerona alongside Benji with the double shot to take him down. And it's a relatively fast response here coming up from Sad Esports. Sad bursting out into A, and Yuki's going to be on that front side just trying to take him down. There's a second player right behind him and making the third, actually. Vantic with the classic, but only able to get one out of it. But here comes Izo. Izo takes away a big frag. Tuzi getting overwhelmed, and that is just Prosperity, not only with a reply, but with a swarm.
And both pistols go their way. Deny the ability to turn things around out the gate here for the side of Sad Esports. And, I mean, we look towards, okay, that's what Prosperity was able to get away with, those sort of AXX out the gate in the first half of this map. So the fact that they shut it down outright, I mean, Vantic here, huge proactivity. Izo as well down short. Taking some risks, but they pay off. And the fact that we never got to see Sad proactively, or I should say successfully clear out a short there, was kind of the tipping point. And now, I mean, we talked about this, how the composition Sad's running, you don't get to have this forward pressure, a space denial. But with Yuki and these salvos, you can have it every round, and they regenerate still in this old Tejo meta. Okay. Now they've dissipated. Slow clearance, the spy cam. Not quite sure what's drawn Vantic and Izo to this site, but good thing it has.
Right, it's working out at least for now with the fact that Sad, they just keep inching closer and closer. And this is good here. Magic
Yeah, how deep Magic
long.
is.
Yeah, and with the tripwire over in Garage, they don't need to worry about C at all other than what Magic is doing right now. They can hold on to B, and they can hold these 3 players over on A.
Yeah, that's why they have the 3 players on A. They know it's not going to be a follower, but they know it's the Stinger force is the question. Gate crash to draw the eye. The double tap is up, and the player graffiti eliminated. The trade as well secured. Vanting every single player. That numbers advantage we just praised eliminated. Spike planted, and there's still 4 players strong up against an outlaw and a ghost now in the hands of the remaining Prosperity players.
It's just the dismount there not exactly working out. Yuki unable to get his hands over the trade there, and still the rest of his team unable to rotate too quickly now. But Magic, he wants to have a bit of fun here. Let's have some fun. Magic coming out, bursting out the wall, going out with Classic, and unable to do much. Sad come out of this round with 3 players alive. Team Ace, 5th round, their 1st round in a very long time.
Yeah. Aside from the fluke round 11.
Can you count that?
Eh. And I mean, this was
a
just
round.
clean.
It was technically a round, so you know what, my bad.
We talked about like the importance again of getting on the board early when you're looking at an 8-4 half, and the Stinger Force in the 2nd round, that's perfect to do so. And also kind of slams the confidence, slams the economy for Prosperity. See here, just 2 sheriffs, a dire triple exec off these salvos down C, where Jarwin, with that outlaw, is able to make quick work of it, that he carried over likely from Magic's corpse last round.
Magic doesn't want to be the 2nd victim just yet. He wants to maybe surprise a player coming out of the smoke, but that doesn't really matter. Sad. They already have their next line of sight, and it's over towards C. Benji, excuse me, not Benji Main. He's not going to be able to do much with this, but he has all the information in the world. Still, the Classic doesn't have a good line of sight. One-on-one here over in spawn. Benji takes down Magic. Still a lot more work to be done here. Prosperity really just looking for a couple of these rifles, looking for a bit of a burst into this economy, bit of a break to the economy, but not at all. This is exactly, of course, what Sad needed. A lot more Valorant to be played, but holding on to the SMG, holding on to the Guardian, holding on to the Bulldog, that's huge still for Sad. It's a long half coming up.
Now, this is the round that matters for the side of Prosperity. If they lose what's now technically a SAD Esports bonus, then in the subsequent rounds will essentially eliminate the advantage that they had at the half. And I mean, with the Bulldog, with the Guardian carried over, this is definitely looking a little scary. So again, going back to proactivity on this approach, again, you have to find a way to disrupt what is a C-Take familiar with the style of composition. They do so quite well.
They have the right idea, at least for now. Tuzi was stepping up over towards Garage to try to burst things open for his players over towards Long. But not exactly happening. It is going to be a one-on-one here. Magic bursts out and takes out Benji. That is slap to the face of Sad here, and that's another one. Vantic finding Tuzi. And again, you can just see here kind of the effect for Sad. I mean, them getting a little bit more desperate at the bare minimum. Tuzi and Benji making some hero plays, but then able to beat the heroes. Vantic on the front side, knocking down both Jerwin and Jawa with the same bullet. Zerona, 1v5. This round's done. At least Prosperity can cut the bleeding.
Now, when the initial C split's taken out, and you recognize, hey, because they went aggressive C, your Cypher's going to be A. E was the best bet, but the pivot just so fast out of Prosperity, and now, I mean, Tower of Friendship, the dark cover's out. Silver lining here, at least you have the spikes, you have a choice, and C-Site kind of left open here, kind of showing actually some respect towards Zerona in this face clutch situation. But I'm expecting Yuki salvos out as soon as Spike Tap goes through. I expect the high gear over because Magic, when he only has 2 HP, he likes to get risky, right? And Zerona, not even gonna be able to get that prospect just yet. There's 10 seconds left.
10 seconds left.
Oh.
He's dead? No, he's not dead. Somehow not dead. Oh, and he can bait more frags. Cool. Never mind. All right. An attempt. Zerona very smart. And still double digits. Prosperity getting closer now to actually drowning out Sad. It's not like, again, we haven't seen a good look here from Sad on this attack half. Let's try to see what this next round has for us. Prosperity, things aren't safe just yet. Things are starting to get entertaining more than anything here from this Sad side.
Yeah. Again, an ego comp, and when you almost toss a 10-2 half, I'm sure that'll eat away at you, but Vantic huge, and looking back at Zerona here, the double dip kind of costs them a chance in clutching at the round, but 6-10. You need that decision, and surprised they don't just try to run back the C split here because you don't expect Prosperity to run it, down C long every round. But they're just being very cautious, it seems like, from the get-go, waiting for that kind of aggression because it's come out more rounds than not, whether it's down A long, whether it's down C. It seems like now that they've weathered that storm, they're trying to get these deep deposits. They're trying to get any Cypher utility that may exist off the C site. So, definitely feels like terraforming land for a C exec or trying to fake it with that deposit of Benji. But, I mean, now the concern is you haven't done anything to weather this Cypher util on A. So as soon as the spy cam sees you or hears that drone, expect players to make their way over there on the side of Prosperity as well.
What is Manny set up here, Manny? There's a whole lot of space to work with. There's a whole lot of utility in front of him. But he's not going to have a line of sight other than, of course, that tripwire. Smoke in his face. And no spot, of course, because of the clone. And he actually still gets spotted out by the kill contract. And no way! Jawa still takes him down. Manny had a chance. Prosperity almost able to kind of claw themselves with a realistic chance into this round, but every player for Prosperity so plugged away right now. One player over in spawn, already getting rushed in by Jerwin. Spike is going down finally. And here comes at least a bit of an attempt here for Prosperity. Sad with so much map control. And there you go. Confidence coming back into the hands of Sad.
Yeah, every single piece that was set up fell into place that round for Sad, right? I mentioned them like, they use a lot of shocks, they use a lot of utility to get away any Cypher trips on C, but when your kill contract's able to latch on to Manny there, you're pretty set solid. Even if you lose the fight, you took him out long enough to get those players deposited. And yeah, when they realized how kind of seamless that was, even down to the Benji lurk, that gets the, neural theft to just lock in the round. It's the second time not utilized, but it's the proactive ones that we like. It set them up for the 8-4 half, and now it could set them up for closing out this map.
It's not like, again, we didn't see a bit of an adjustment coming out from Sad. Usually when we do see that first contact, it is a little bit more committal, or it is a little bit more of a battle. But the first contact coming out from C long, holding the two players in between CB Link, really nothing came out of it from that Sad side. Nobody committed to it. Once that contact came in, it was a universal agreement that, hey, we all go over towards A. We all go over to this one uniform position, which, again, just a slight mentality shift, but you can tell that's Sad again, just trying to play more to their opponent's pace a little bit here, trying to adapt a little bit more, which is maybe something that Sad weren't doing. Just a bit of disrespect.
Yeah, definitely, it feels like they're playing this style of composition really, really careful, which is uncharacteristic of that team that kind of named it the Rankers comp in my mind, but all in all, coming out of this timeout, I like the switch up from Prosperity. You're trying to fake that you're still aggressing A, when in reality your Cypher util split and you're still pushing down C long. You get them to push off the salvos, not quietly scale down C long. And so now they have so much control through C, they have so much control down A off these, borderlines, the traps, that they have the entire team confined now to grass and B main. They know that this is where that team is headed.
And basically their friend here is time. Their best friend is time. The more time that goes by, the more space they gain, the more boxed into mid that Sad gets. Nobody's making a move back over towards B. They have a tripwire over in C garage. B is going to be pretty damn easy to say the least, and Sad. You can kind of tell that this mentality is pushing Prosperity to make some shifty decisions. The Teo doesn't exactly know whether or not to hold on to A. Is going to relinquish it a little bit, going to double watch over towards B. But this is basically just a 50-50. Do you believe in A? Do you believe in B? And it looks like they believed in the right position. It is going to be B. It is a double crossfire here for Prosperity.
Oh, no.
But no, the Cypher back's on the way. The plan is going to go in, but this is Tuzi now. Tuzi in the bottom of mid, able to take away one, but Prosperity still hard checks it. 4-on-4.
And the trapwire broke in C long, but Benji was so committed to the deep alert that it really did fall to Tuzi to keep their back covered. And because they realized they lost control of spawn, they lost control of grass, they push into C link, and it works out for the time being, but now the 1v1s are not going their way. And the annihilation from Yuki is just to try, I was gonna say protect the tap, but
no, but Joa, he's going to have a line of sight over towards bottom mid, but Bantic, he has a swing. But that has to be it. 2-on-1 with a defuse in the middle. Unless they gave him one-on-ones, Jawa's job was so difficult there, and that's exactly what happens. The comeback is there. That was 2-on-4 for Prosperity.
And again, the setup was just really, really clean out of Prosperity. We mentioned the risk, Yuki giving up all that A space after they were kind of bullied out of it by some utility. And this was the crux as well for me, right? Bungie is so deep through A that you're like, we got to commit somebody else to the flank, and it's Choosy. He falls, and there was even a gamble, a risk, right, with that Armageddon, right? Because it's to flush out Jawa, but then it's covering the spike. So you can't get somebody onto it early. But you play down the timer, you trust in Vantic to get the refrag onto Joa, who you know is now having to peek from main, and you're good to go. But this is the speed up. This is the confidence that we want to see out of this style of composition off the Dimensional Drift. One-way ticket into the C site. Manny forced off by the Hunter's Fury in addition, and you really can't do much now that your life's been stolen away. And now you've got to play retake off the Rolling Thunder, off the Overdrive.
Spike planted.
Let's see what Prosperity can do in one of these super, super difficult retakes. And I mean, that does help. Jawa just gives the one-on-one a little bit, but Jerwin, he goes for the refrag, and actually works out in his favor. And Benji from behind too, lurking up the mid side, taking out Izo. And now it is Yuki alongside Magic. Now make it only Magic. As Magic is gone. 8-11, sad, keeping themselves in the game, and more importantly, winning probably the most important round for them going forward. Their eco was about to break a little bit, and they can hold on to their rifles basically for the rest of the half.
Yeah, that was, again, what the style composition thrives at. You're not going to have the Hunter's Fury every round, and I think definitely having Manny fall there was huge to set up Benji for success, to allow them to play from that garage position unimpeded. And I mean, there's a little luck there that the Rolling Thunder doesn't really connect as well, so that can still go about fragging, can still isolate the Overdrive utilizing Magic as well. But, ooh, speaking of luck, finally an A-side collision on the eco round here for Prosperity. Caged across, so Jawa also can punch out of it. Or just deny the spike or try to do all of the above.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, this isn't much of a collision. This is more of a fender bender more than anything, but oh my goodness, this is a car crash. What is going on? Magic and the front side gonna go down. Zerona, Tuzi, Jawa, Jerwin, all players for SAD collecting frags onto the pistols of Prosperity. Good idea, of course, from Prosperity. They chose correctly, to say the very least, but not the right result.
Now it's Manny classic in hand. You can get the shield, you can get the player about a gate crash running you down, but that's about it. SAD get their 9th, and I agree. Prosperity, the U-Took combos were clean. Paranoia, fault line. It got, Magic where he needed to be, but then it all comes down to sometimes your right-click RNG, sometimes some chance double taps. And just the discrepancy with his weaponry was too powerful, and once that utility subsided, the quick nature to deposit yourself back deep into a main, particularly here, outside of the cage, worked out super, super well for SAD. So 9-11. Mentioned how that was Nico. Now Magic with the operator on hand. This also could have been a result of the previous timeout, saying, okay, how are we going to change the defense next eco cycle? Oh.
Magic playing with fire here. Bullets whizzing past his head. He's going to be fine for now. Has to reposition back over towards garage. But SAD not pushing the situation at all. Look how conservative they're being.
I like it. I feel like the smoke C was for orb. I think they're just orb farming and ending A here. Right, Jao got the kill contract. If your Cypher is C, you're hoping to grab him yet again. Which, if you think about that repeat round, it worked out super, super cleanly. Benji as well with the lurk will be like the final nail on the coffin through B. I see the vision, but it all hinges off of getting Manny, right? And look at how far Manny's getting away from A. He knows it's coming.
Nobody gets it there. Indeed, he had to back all the way into spawn for that, and oh my goodness. Benji, what a chance. And Manny's still able to take down Zerona. But what a chance there for Benji. Manny, he did dodge the kill contract a little bit earlier on. Still alive and still fragging Jero and Jawa alongside Suzy. Still trying to stay alive here for Sad. He'll try to play around sight. Jawa, this is such a dangerous position. If he can get this first frag, that would be huge. Indeed, he does at least get the frag, but it wasn't off the first contact. Not able to help out his teammate in a 3-on-1, basically. That one's going to be 12-9.
3 more rounds I needed for Sad to get to overtime, but I love the duality of a round like that and a few rounds prior where we talked about, okay, they have all these pieces about to fall into place and they all lock in and you're good to go for the round. And that's one where everything went wrong, right? Kill contract doesn't grab Manny. Your lure player Benji, who's supposed to be also a win factor for disrupting a retake, falls. And so the site goes with it because Manny able to play Heaven, finds kills. Yuki hands the operator off, right? So that Magic can be in the fight and still finds a kill. So all in all, I mean, they're lucky to have a buy, and they know now the operator's in place, so Jerwin's going to pick up one as well. But do they expect the B main fight here?
There's at least gonna be a bottom mid fight. Oh my goodness, Magic gonna have to back up, but nobody bursting into B main, no one bursting into mid, but that is huge. Jerwin, Operator taking down Yuki over in long. Nobody else is gonna be over on this A site. This is gonna be the easiest A site that we've seen from SAD so far in this half, because Prosperity, they love their A site. They loved having the consistent involvement on this site, but SAD, yes, they're onto this A site, but look at the surrounding players here for Prosperity. They already have 3, and nobody's able to do much. No frags coming out, no bullets going in, no util being used, no ultis in, and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And I was about to, you know, display those concerns. We're like, how can you get back into this site, right?
Why
Previous, your Armageddon was taken out. Last round, you had obviously Manny from Heaven and the utility to play off of. That was your ticket back in. You also had the From the Shadows of Pervantic that went long. That was your ticket back in. This round, right? You didn't dislodge the alert player, Benji. You didn't have that big Armageddon to utilize to get your way back in. I think this is the safe route versus if your econ was damaged, then SAD gets to a guaranteed 11th, then you're playing that last rifle round for OT for map 3. For that higher seed. And I mean, a little conservative side, but it still, I think, is the long game strategy here out of Prosperity.
But it just hurts that that's even, you know, in the realm of possibility for this team, because I mean, if that's the case, A was basically a do or die for a single player. Like once that one player goes down and once SAD has control of A, then the round is lost. You know what I mean? That's just sort of my question mark there for Prosperity and the intentions coming into the round, or at least at the very beginning of the last round. The save, not so much a question, but the overall scope of things. But still, here comes Prosperity with a bit more pressure over towards A. It is going to be the Neon on the front side. Magic with an Operator, but not going to be able to find anyone just yet. SAD only putting out a face in some deep portions of the map, not approaching.
We talked about how the Hunter's Fury is utilized quite well for SAD to set things up. So they're going back to the ult farming, the orb farming. They're still looking for these first kills with Jarwin and that Operator, but bad to see Manny's not testing the waters at all. They had that spy cam to do it for him. But the slow pacing here, and you mentioned the deep control, deep pause of that Operator. And they're going to be eyes on the Operator. They're not even going to clear out Yuki in my mind here. Look.
Yuki. This could finish the whole map. I mean, they already have the man advantage. Are they going to clear Yuki? Yuki, this is it.
Going long, no.
Oh, Zorana. Wait, Zorana walks through. They could actually still get the trade, and indeed they do. So things aren't lost just yet. However, Magic waiting for Tuzi. Tuzi not showing a pixel. Battle over towards Garage, but the player's backing out. And there goes Vantic. Vantic gets the frag. Frag from Magic onto Jawa. And we are down to 1. Tuzi in a 1v4. Try to keep this map number 2 going. But this matchup for number 1 seed going into the playoffs here of promotion relegation.
Oh no.
Indeed going into the map number 3. No, Tuzi's gonna be chill.
Fortunate.
All right, good luck, Tuzi. 1v4, the paranoia is actually gonna work out. Actually ends up
Shadows traveling.
blinding 1 or 2 there, but that's about it. And Tuzi, ciao ciao. Job's done here for Prosperity. That's map number 2. And that's map number 3. All decisive map number 3 for the first spot in playoffs.
And the damage done by the fake comeback on Lotus seeps through to Haven. Prosperity, again, a dominant first half, 8-4. The proactive timeouts all culminate for the victory. And SAD thought they were pulling a fast one. They're like, hey, let's pick a map that they, you know, narrowly won over a no-name team 13-10, a map they haven't played with their core 5. And they got bit a little bit for it. So we talked about how the map pool felt like it was won by the side of SAD, and now they're going to have to prove so by sending us to Icebox, sending us to that decider, which again can be another kind of ego-style map, right? With A versus A executions. And I mean, history favors SAD pretty boldly here with a 13-5, and we talked about how it only got stronger, it felt like, for these maps on the side of SAD. But yeah, who knows, guys?
I mean, it's just fun to see Icebox coming up, because SAD, last time we saw them on Icebox, it was a whole lot of hold W. So yeah, we were talking about car crashes earlier. This is going to be a car crash that you cannot look away from, folks. Map number 3, Prosperity. SAD, things are actually heating up a little bit. These two teams, they have a lot to fight for going into tomorrow, but they still have something to prove today. Let's see what happens after the break.
And off to map 3 we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the promotion relegation section of Valorant Challengers North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Gompers. If you're just joining us, it's been a bit of a wacky day. We can't lie to you here. We would never lie to you on the desk. But Prosperity Esports strike back, stealing away Sad Esports map pick of Haven. And Gompers, we're going to the box. I just want to say to the person in chat that said, I will eat a shoe if we go to map 3. I hope it's easy and tasty for you.
Don't eat
have fun with that. But we're going to the box, Gompers.
We are, and I mean, all in all, like a big congratulations to Prosperity for being able to bring it to a map 3 because it was looking pretty. I wouldn't even say pretty dim based off the first map, but the fact that they were able to just kind of keep that same momentum going through within the second map, I think it kind of shows the game that we're today. It's not the same as last time, right? Finally, a map win. Versus the continuous loss that they had to face against Sad Esports. So it definitely does have to feel good. Honestly, I can't even imagine what it feels like to know that there is a possibility that you can be in the winning seat.
It's one of those things where it kind of seemed inevitable while you were watching it. With the early round start, I think Prosperity racked up 4 rounds before the Sad Esports were able to get 1. But it just really, really seemed like we were talking about before the map. Like if they've kind of found their groove, it was a warm up. Everything was just clicking for them, and managing to hold off any sort of Sad Esports possible comeback. And it seems like, to be frank, Gompers, both sides are pretty jovial. It seems like from what we can tell, like, we're shooting bodies, there doesn't seem to be like stressed decision making, if that makes any sense. But it just kind of seemed like it's game on for these teams, Gompers. Like they've adjusted, they're ready. There's no fear, just kind of go. And does the lack of like an elimination help here? It's just seeding, probably, if we're being honest. But hey, if that's a confidence boost that you need and you get that done, sure, we'll take it. We go to map 3. But Gompers, when we are looking at this timeline, it was a bit back and forth in the beginning. There was we have that 4 round streak for Prosperity in the beginning, but then we kind of see this kind of give and take, and then Prosperity just kind of go, if you will.
Yeah, it was difficult. When Sad finally got like economic value, they were already so far down in the depth that it really didn't work the way they had planned, which I think that really would set them off in the beginning. Otherwise, I do feel like we would have been going down to OT, but that really does show you, like, a lot of people don't view the importance of the pistol round, but if they had won the pistol round, this would have been a completely different story. So it's crazy to think that they kind of just let it go from the start, and that was originally what set the tone for Prosperity and what gave them the mentality to keep going the way they did. I think their positioning was perfect, right? We saw a lot of instances where it was cross-hold like to a T. There was absolutely no way that there would have been someone from Prosperity that got taken out that wouldn't have been able to get a trade. And I think that the way they played was absolutely beautiful in that advantage. And Vantic was such a detrimental role to play, honestly, with 10 assists, by the way, for this player.
Dang.
So yeah, I think being able to just blind in for the team, allow Magic to thrive in that environment was a very, very good play from Prosperity. And they didn't really rush it either on the defense, which I thought they were going to do with the Neon, but they were very, very patient and well-rounded overall, which is not something that I don't think we got to see in the last game. Last game was very play individually and just run it down. But this time it was, let's just wait because we're better with the angles. And, if we wide swing, Derwin might be the one to win that. But, let's take advantage of the positioning a little more, which I absolutely agree with.
2 things I want to highlight that you just spoke about, which, I mean, obviously, everything that you said was brilliant. But the one thing I heard in the beginning that I love that you said was people you think underestimate the importance of a pistol round. Look at some of these score lines. Viewers, like, please look at these score lines. We see these 13-11s, 13-9s. When you break it down, you break down the economy, pistols can determine the game. Like, I know it's like some people are like, oh, it's just pistol, whatever, like, GG, we go next. It's the economy snowball that happens, the mental snowball that happens with pistol. It is so crucial to the game, and I don't think we give it enough credit, because we do see a lot of thrifties, especially in Challengers League and stuff like that. But the pistol is so crucial. And something else I want to highlight is Magic's Neon, because that's something you were a little nervous about before the map started. You were like saying like, hey, we didn't change anything, we're not sure, but as it turns out, not bad, Magic, not bad.
No, a phenomenal player, honestly. This game was, I feel like, I feel like this game, they started playing a little bit more, again, with the util end together. You can't really have the Neon be that entry duelist if nobody's following behind. And I feel like that's where we kind of started to get very, very distant in terms of how the gameplay was going, you know, in that first map of Lotus. But I think they started to find their groove, you know, playing alongside Magic, having the Breach have a little bit more impact. And specifically the Omen, especially, like, I think utilizing the smokes to their advantage in the post plans and just overall trying to, once again, just use the util to their advantage. That's how you play the game, right? Like, there is a reason why this all, like, you have an advantage with the util used, and I think they used it perfectly. They played the game the way the game was supposed to be played, honestly. There was no complaints.
It's, you know, I think the old, you know, like precise gunplay, at the end of the day, that really genuinely only works when you have the aim to back it up. Yeah. Because the amount of times your breach can stun and you whiff a clip or whatever it may be, it's over. I'm looking at you and I'm taking you out, right? Like, I know the memes are funny and whatever. We can talk about kind of the ability overdrive that meta we're in right now. But at the end of the day, there is a proper way to play this game. There's a reason it is designed the way it is. And I genuinely think there is no better place to exemplify this, Gompers, than Icebox. Those tight corners, those tight chokes, you know, these little moments where you have to really use your abilities to create space. Because frankly, you don't have it on this map, especially when you're trying to attack. Like, it is so frustrating to attack on this map. I dread playing this map, if I'm being honest. But kind of like what you're saying, we gotta see that team play we were looking for everyone. We need to see it now better than ever, Gompers.
I agree. I think with the pace, well, I know with the pace that Prosperity is playing with, especially just, you know, kind of sticking it out, not wanting too aggressive, it might have to come to a halt here because, you know, when you are playing the defense, it does tend to get a little bit harder, right? The attack may work in their favor with the double controller composition. I think the Harbor is fascinating. Obviously, like, kind of coming into the meta a bit more of the Icebox, but for me, I like it. I think Vantic is such a great contender, especially with the way they were playing before. If they can, like, really take advantage of, you know, honestly, I think the ult's gonna play such a pivotal role here of keeping everybody moving on SAD on the site, and kind of, instead of creating an environment where you don't know where everyone is, like, you pretty much just kind of take all of these utils to their advantage. The lack of duelists I just saw is speaking to me a bit. Am I comfortable with that? I'm not sure, but I think it'll work out. I don't think they need it. I think their main perspective is, you know, keep the site on the defense, play, you know, diligently on the attack, have Yuki be, I feel like Yuki's going to be playing a little bit more of that duelist role for Wood. You know, I'm excited to see it.
A Gecko duelist and a nice Gimon sort of cosplay of Vantic on the Harbor. But folks, we have this map 3. Let's figure out where these teams will be seated, who's playing Pigeons and who's playing Shopify Belly and Gold. Up mine, Zobi, please take it away.
Yeah, let's talk about this one. This one's for the birds, aka this one is literally for the birds. This one is to play the birds. This one is to play Pigeons. SAD Esports, Prosperity Esports, playing for seeding right now. Playing to see who plays Pigeons. Playing to see who plays Shopify. But also with this one, we were probably expecting the no duelist. Jerwin, however, has been, at least on this map, an all right duelist to say the very least, consistently getting himself 20 plus frags on this map. This is actually another one of those maps where we do actually see Zerona start to pop off a little bit more, even though he's had an incredible series, so he just gets unlocked even more. This has the makings for a good map, of course, here for SAD Esports, but Prosperity Esports, they picked Icebox last time they played against SAD. What's their potential at?
Well, last time they picked and played against that on this map, it was a different composition. It was actually very, very similar, except it was a double initiator with a Sova over the KO. So, you know, maybe they just didn't like how it played out. Again, that first time they got to play with Izo. I am curious, again, how the role switch-up's going to be. In my mind, I think a duelist to a Killjoy on Icebox is understandable just because, you know, they aren't necessarily a anchor sentinel. They are playing around mid. They still are usually a heavy form of 1v1 contact, whether it's shutting down alert players or, you know, receiving insane eco strats. And I think my big concern, though, is that it is Prosperity on the attack as we jump into the first round. And they need that puncture player, and they don't have it. So when SAD is the one that can get ahead and get proactive, it's going to be difficult. It's going to fall apart. Unless, okay, some nice trades coming through, and they still walk away without numbers.
And you can tell, though, because of that watch from 2Z, that A was very disconnected, to say the least. And Yuki, actually, over in the back of site, still able to get a kill onto Jerwin. There goes Benji. their own trade. 2 on 3 now. Izo pushing out the situation, and this is a perfect spot to be in for now. Vantic has no idea about the setup, though. 3 players coming in from the back.
Yeah, this is smart. As long as they clear out the corner, the flashpoint should get things started. It misses, but Jao still clears out the Stark angle. Vantic, spotted out by the little jiggle from Zerona. Sacrificial lamb so that Benji can get the trade, and Sad can get the pistol. Okay, here we go. On the board first, which is a change, actually, if we think about it, right? Prosperity was able to get both opening pistols on Lotus and on Haven. So I think it comes down to, again, Prosperity is going to look for unorthodox ways to get onto these sites, whether it's defaults and late pivots onto open sites, or whether it is, these double deposit mid plays. But Sad, I think, is going to recognize that instead of playing the typical fight forward, look for a kill, get out, they're going to, play a little bit safer, play for receiving what is going to have to be numbers when you don't have that dive duelist. And even this round, with weapons in hand, they're strong siding B, going to clear out all of B main, and likely play retake here. I don't expect Tuzi to be able to do much here, maybe get one, get out with this Guardian, but that's the last weapon you want to hand over.
Yeah, he's in a beautiful position to get that one. That's exactly it. Snag the one. Nobody else is going to be able to support you. This is going to be fun. For Prosperity, though, at the end of the day, should be able to get themselves a free site here. Drone not spawning anything, but they do indeed hear Tuzi, but they still have some support in the back. Jerwin coming up real quick in the back of A. Not able to take out the wingman, not able to take out the spike, and indeed Benji, he does come around to try to help, but not able to do much. Sad, not playing disconnected, still holding on to the back of site, and Prosperity only holding on to the very front of A. They are so deep into main right now. They're gonna have to battle Zerona head on.
Oh, and this is exactly what Sad wanted to play for. The flood retake off the toxic screen, which is why Sad, even though they're in this key position, has to stay alive. And they are going to do more than that. They're going to take 2 down with them, set up the position so you know where Manny is. And that's all the Guardian needs to get the wallbang shot to connect. 2Z, 3 found on the round. They're going to keep the buy round pretty clean for the second.
A good little readjustment there from Sad, too, once they realized that 2Z was a little too committed there. Jerwin already climbing up the stairs, already getting himself into a good position just to try to maybe delay the middle of sight a little bit. But overall, you can't really take away these results here from... Yeah, exactly. Can't take away the results here from Prosperity. You got to give it up to Zerona there.
That's the issue, is Prosperity. I think I saw a little bit of a stinger force, right? So
Yeah.
now coming into a third round, when you should have Vandals, you should have a way to combat this bonus, it feels like it's going to be a snowball handed right over to Sad here. And they have a nice setup here as well, off of the Outlaw for Jerwin. So these light shields going to be pretty thin so you can eat your way through. And Zerona as well, the forced up Phantom off the Sheriff by last round, all sets them up to kind of eat these frags, but they actually eat a bullet. Yuki, the Sheriff, at least gets the kill, but no weapon collected.
Benji's going to get a free frag there. Yeah, Prosperity unable to get lucky at all. I mean, Manny, he does break through there, and he has 2 players staring deep into B main. So decent idea, but Tuzi, he gets a single frag here, and this round is basically over, right? But he's not going to be going for that crossfire. Going to be waiting for the rest of his teammates. 4v2, the Sheriffs, or 4v2, 4v3, the Prosperity Sheriffs need to go crazy.
Interesting, Sad's taking their time on this, clearing out common angles with the swarm grenades, waiting out the Dizzy that'll never be recovered. It's Jerwin actually to open up the site. The salvos force the hand of Izo as well. It's all down to Yuki, where you might find one who has a classic off the sniper rifle, but the follow-up from Jao, from Benji, is immediate. A bonus will go their way, a third will lock in. And again, it feels like it's interesting to see that Sad, right? He's kind of giving up this space, because it feels like the difficulty for Prosperity without a duelist would be to make this space. But I think they're realizing, hey, Prosperity's never fighting forward. I think the one round we saw was Izo try to do so on that second round, and that also kind of fell short. So all in all, if Prosperity maybe give me an early timeout here, because it feels very fragmented, disjointed, other than getting this A site.
Right, and I mean, with the way that Sad is thinking, or at least by your logic, I mean, this is perfect. I mean, the rest of the half is going to go exactly the way we've seen it. I mean, we've seen 3 plants so far, 3 defuses from Sad. They're giving that A site away to Prosperity consistently. But yeah, Prosperity, again, they got to make that switch up potentially to go a little bit deeper. But that may be because of the rifles. That may be because of the guns. Let's see the switch up potentially, because Prosperity, they're still aiming on paper for an A setup, because yeah, Yeah, they did make all that noise over towards B.
Yeah,
but all these
Dizzy
players
was really good.
They're walking over on A.
Now, again, that's the kind of play you have to go for without a duelist. And I was kind of praising Sad here, I think, for having, okay, they didn't fight us forward B. They played it safe, played from yellow. And as a result, they not only still got a kill as they run it through the toxic screen, but now they have 5 players strong for this retake on A, and they have an ult command to try and shut down this round.
And a Swarm in the middle, too. Not much to really get rid of it. This is going to be a long-term setup here for Prosperity, but there goes the KO ulti. No util being able to be utilized right now. Nanoswarm's going to get revealed. Here comes around the corner, that Gecko Yuki striking down too. So a lot more work to be done here for Prosperity, but they do have a bit of an advantage. ISO around the corner, looking for the guided salvos. Not able to hit anything. 2-0 around the corner, able to get the frag, and Magic lining up too. Can it be 2 for Benji? No, it cannot. My goodness, Prosperity holding on to the back of A as much as they could. And man, it works out still. It's all on Magic.
I mean, it's opened up by Yuki and closed by Magic. Whoa. I mean, the no command, right, strips away, I feel like, your use as a Gecko, right? You're not going to be able to play the Thrash from off-site. You're not going to be able to play the Mosh from off-site. So you play forward instead, ahead of that toxic screen. You deny that space in the post or in that retake. First off, nasty shot. But all in all, I mean, this was the moment, the hinge point, so that you can then rely on, okay, the Swarm Grenade, on the salvos, the players that will still be alive and off-site playing their utility. And we're already live to the next round where, okay, we got to change things up. They're getting A for free. The post plant's been cleaned up. Maybe we need to disrupt this site take.
Well, drones certainly didn't catch somebody who might make things a bit interesting. Magic on the front side, and okay. It is a trade, though, coming out immediately from ISO, but like you said, shock to the system here of this take of Prosperity. There's 2 players on the front side for Sad, and there's really no chance for Prosperity there. So they back up. Tails tucked between their legs. It's going to be Benji on the front side over towards B, who has a lot to do.
Yeah, huge change up, huge trade as well. I'm gonna make retake a little bit harder here, so I'm expecting succinct communication between Benji and maybe the Armageddon wielding Tuzi here to deny, perhaps, claim that space so they can buy more time for them to get back over to support Benji, but interesting location. Should be able to avoid the Thrash, maybe even detection here. This is gonna be good.
Needs the frag, though. Benji does get the frag onto Vantic. Still getting tracked down, still with an opportunity for frags. And he follows up. Benji takes this from an even situation. Takes it to an advantage here for Sad, and still no spike getting put down, no line of sight being covered up here for Prosperity, but finally, Viper Wall goes up, there goes the plant. Plant is getting stopped right now by the Molly, and Zorona is able to grind out both.
Nice delay from Benji's 2-piece, so that, okay, throw the Swarm Grenade in. Tuzi was ready, a moment's notice on the tap for the Armageddon. And I think it was that 0 point, actually, from Jawa that lands on both, that delays that site plant, delays the wingman, delays the toxic screen, and is why they actually got away scotch-free without even having to invest some of these ultimates. So all that showcasing, okay, maybe we fight heavy strong A because it's a coin toss on the retake, and maybe our B retake stronger. But for the time being, Prosperity is one that's to figure something out because they're realizing, okay, can't really get B. Can't self-fakes every round to get a space control, which is where we see the rounds were working if nobody could slip through the flank like Zorona. And all in all, I mean, what else do we think we have to see out of Prosperity here in this no duelist composition up mine?
Yeah, no, it's tough to really say because Prosperity here on this attack side, they're kind of doing what is right for the no duelist. You know what I mean? They are taking things sort of step by step. They are picking and prodding in the early round, and they're responding very well off of it. Every single time that they have rotated, they've been able to at least successfully get all 5 players into the, at least onto site, into the vicinity. Maybe not into a plant, but all 5 players are able to get transferred over to that other side of the map and give themselves a chance. So again, not exactly the wrong idea here for Prosperity, but it's like you were saying a little bit earlier, it's that proactivity into the back lines once that spike is put down. However, tough for you to do that over towards B. Tough for you to do that without a man over towards mid, basically. So it's layering here a little bit for Prosperity. It is trying to think about that long term a little bit more for Prosperity once that spike actually goes down, because the plan up until the spike pretty good.
Oh. Well, speaking of disrupting a man in mid, they're trying to establish. We got the Blades in kitchen. We got Zerona pushing down too. Look at this coordination out of Snowfile. They're all their utilities stripped away by the 0 point. The follow-up immediate, the crunch secured, and Tuzi, of all players, is anchoring B. And I mean, Blinken, you'll miss it. The round falling, the timeout, the eco denied. And I mean, that's not how I thought things were going to go, especially with kind of the plan we laid out of, okay, get deep control. You have an Armageddon. You were one off from the Reckoning, right? Those are tools that can get that man forward, right? And that's what I want to see now that they have weapons in hand is, you know, it's an eco strat, write it off. It didn't work. Move on with your life. Don't look too much into it. Aside from that now, going back to A, this is going to be clean, right? Other than the Killjoy now kind of fully committed here. They get that kind of main space for control
and with
for
the
free.
KO too to deny the util too?
I mean, with a 0 point, it's not a null command or anything.
Right. No, he doesn't even. I mean, the knife is there though, early on. Gets all that information. So early information over on that A side is already a little bit rare to say the least, but Sad doesn't do anything to actually respond to it other than back on away. They go over towards that mid side, 2 players, Zerona alongside Jerwin. Now only make a Jerwin. Shot onto the head of Zerona. Jawa now trying to pick away at his own side, and there you go. 1 HP left for Jawa, and he's good.
I mean, you got yours. You've gotten out that spike down. Lockdown online is huge because we mentioned they wanted to use those ultimates to scale forward. They wanted to deposit a deep player, which Yuki tried to do, fighting towards screen. But I was going to say, you might have gotten out a little too early. Yuki was sticking around, and it doesn't matter. Because you punished that, it's all down to Izo.
Benji lines up 3 to finish off that round. Okay. I mean, the lockdown was already enough to realistically win out the round the way that take really happened. But all right, Benji, clean him up, baby, clean him up. 6-1. Going towards the side of Sad.
I mean, 1 ultimate and you get the round secured versus we've seen Prosperity really sitting on this treasure trove. Now, again, there's a disjointment between them being invested and not. And part of that maybe is, like you mentioned, because of the early contact at the 0 point, but it wasn't even sprung to try and disrespect the lockdown either, or again, push through to screens into spawn where maybe you could get out of its boundary. And part of that, again, was the threat of Benji, just the immediate reaction to fight into rafters, then shut down player after player, whether it was on-site or off-site. So now look at this. Sad is continually pushing, whether it's mid, whether it's B-long, whether it's A main. They want that control. They want that certainty.
Looking to really close out the night here. What an idea here from Sad, to say the very least. 3 players running on up, making a whole lot of noise potentially. Don't really think the KJ nor the Viper is really at the line of sight here, but it is going to be the players from A with the watch. Manny. There you go, Manny. Manny sweeps up the last 2 remaining over in his spawn.
Want the gun?
It's not like the job's done, though. Tuzi, Benji has the line of sight, has the crossfire mid. Tuzi! My goodness! Tuzi! 3 players on his screen just about 5 seconds before the round ended. And by the round being over, it was all him. 7-1 going towards the side of Sad Esports. Tuzi, well done.
And again, Prosperity, they have the right idea. They understand. They pick up on the tendencies and have a plan to adjust, to react around them. And sometimes it really is just a player like Tuzi with this 1v3 transfer, player after player. Yeah, run it back, slow it down, because that might just be what is the tipping point for Sad, right? That 30 would have put you back in, would have set you up for maybe time things a little bit closer here. But now it's out of hand. Now the economy is sweltering enough to get an operator online, which only, you know, battens down the hatches on the issues you were already staring at.
Zerona staring into B main here through that orb, potentially with a lineup of 2 or 3. Not able to get any legs, not able to get any pixels just yet, but Jerwin's able to get a single shot off onto Yuki, and Yuki is gone. Zerona with an opportunity off the flash. Good setup, but not so good play there. It is Vantic striking down Zerona. Jawa around the corner. What on earth was that? Jawa trusting the cross, and Manny's able to take him down even with the Armageddon, though Prosperity still holding on to this B main area. Tuzi around the corner, but with the molly, he's gonna have to wait a while, but finally finds his gap around the corner. Izo had it, but Manny 1v3. Is it 2 straight 1v3s? But hold on a minute. Tuzi has the rifle. Manny does not. Manny playing with the classic, but it's Tuzi. Yet another 3K, and this time it shuts down some dreams here for Prosperity.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big round. by the ult again. They actually broke through C, disrespected the Armageddon, which you saw Sad thought was perfectly timed, right? They're like, there's no way anybody got past. That was Jawa, the victim of it as a result from Manny. Be able to cross over towards yellow. They felt they had the perfect trap. I mean, it even caught Vantic, right? And Manny, as a result, played around this false information, right? You saw the special delivery. You saw the swarm grenade, all meant to flush him out. And instead, he had pushed forward right up in your face to set up that 1v1. But again, Heroics, a 13-3 Tejo like Tuzi. Difficult to get past. And speaking of difficult to get past, they're coming up with new utility combos. They know now Jerwin's pushing forward with the operator. They're going to keep these players alive this time around, but if they look at this, they're going to double down, flash through the through the cascade.
It didn't care for a single bit of utility, and indeed, maybe we should have had a little bit of caution. 2 players going down to the rush. Benji has the crossover into sight, but this is Jerwin now, and that is huge. Izo makes his way into the front of sight, pulls out the Armageddon, and clears out A. Spike is going to go down, and more importantly, Benji has a line. Oh, and he's going to find Manny. Okay, Manny wasn't exactly that slick.
Awareness.
But still, this is still crazy work here for Prosperity. They still have 3 players on site.
One off as well, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind, and that's why Zerona's trying to go on this expedition to dislodge it, so focus can be on the side exec. But so much utility, the Reckoning. Finally, all these ults are going to culminate, but Benji the head of it. Doesn't matter. Jerwin finally takes down Manny. Now he can get Zerona back on site. The 2v2, they're out of post utility in this point. Yuki, the immediacy. We talked about having them to fill the duelist shoes. They do so, fight forward. High tide, Zerona. They're not going to be telling me that they find the kill, right?
Zerona? That was clean, to say the least, in terms of the frags, but the rounds, not so much. Prosperity, they made it look dirty. So from behind, Manny was able to stop any players from really making progress into the middle of sight in time. By the time Sad even started to step into sight, Prosperity, they already had the round 1.
And they kind of did what you asked, actually. They kind of had that deposited mid player. They kind of complicated, okay, what the post plant would look like. And it drew out enough time, them just worrying about Manny's presence, not even getting to spot him after Benji made contact window. And that makes me wonder, okay, are you going to go back to, sending a player down tube to stop that sort of development? And no, it's just Jerwin. Similar challenge. Maybe they didn't like that they double committed through the cascade. That was maybe also a fault. All in all, little minute changes. The Killjoy turn on boiler also would change this time around for the over towards A. And Zerona in position a different way to try and punish Manny. Oh,
and Manny even had a turret right behind him too. He had an opportunity to catch Zerona. Oh, he had his line of sight. Looking over towards the back of A. Here comes the actual take. Jerwin gonna have the first pixel, but doesn't strike down onto Magic, and Magic instead slaps him down. What a jump from Magic. Still a lot more work to be done here for Sad, as Jawa does have the first kill. Indeed finds the second. Vantic behind the smoke. Not gonna show a pixel just yet, but this 2-man play here for Sad in the middle of sight is looking dangerous, and indeed it is dangerous. Vantic still finds one, and there goes Manny, exactly like you said, waiting for Manny over towards the middle side. Does actually take away the Tejo alongside the KJ. 2-on-2 clean now. Zerona needs to help out his teammate a little bit. He's a little far. Jawa is clean into the middle of sight. They know he's around. They're not going for the plant just yet. This allows time for his teammate Zerona to come in. Zerona with the frag onto Vantic. Now it's all on the Viper, and the Viper just walks right into the crosshair of Jawa. 9-2 Sad.
It's a matter of waiting games, one after another there, right? We have, first and foremost, Izo waiting on Manny. And secondary, we have Jawa waiting on Zerona. Just really start development there. And talked about how it was difficult maybe to take a site here without a duelist. They tried to, make these trades. We also had the proactive positions from Vantic and from Magic. But all in all, Jawa, insane reaction off of Benji's own utility as well, forcing some of those fights, those engagements to the toxic screen. All that sets them up for now. A 9th, possible nether 10-2 in the making. And with an opening kill like that, disrespect towards B main control, they maybe position them well to do so.
Want this sort of reposition here for Zerona. Zerona's looking for so much more on the round, but that's huge for Manny.
I mean, they're locking in B. Look at how deep the Tejo is. And if there's players pushing up, knocking on your back door, you've got to make your own entrance. They push forward. They overwhelm Benji. They get the spike planted.
Jawa doesn't find anyone from it. This is actually going to be a bit of a long war here against Prosperity. Yuki, he gets another kill here, is going to be able to get himself a thrash.
Oh, no.
That's a big one to get if he's able to get in. Look at this one-on-one, look at this one-on-one. Indeed gets it, and here's the thrash. This is a chance here for Prosperity.
Yeah, I mean, lots of post-plant utility.
There it is.
Thrash online to isolate the Jet so a Ghost can get the job done. It's all down to Tuzi again. It's always Tuzi, the 1v2, but this time the players divided. Bring around the Rosie style as well from Yuki, and with time not on your side, the 10-2 averted. The 9-3 curse sprung against SAD Esports.
Switching sides.
Hey,
SAD Esports. How about him?
the fact that they were able to stop, what is that, a 6-round streak from SAD? And at the big picture level, it didn't really change too much either. I think the rotatability there was a little bit better. You know, being able to get a dodge when needed. And they did try and go for this deep control east in this final last round because I feel like they had to. With, again, Tuzi pushing all the way through A main. But that was the half we said was going to be a little bit more difficult for them. So obviously the 3 rounds, nothing to write home about. We'll get to see the no duelist composition hopefully thrive on this defense, which is where that 9-3 becomes a slippery slope up mine.
I love the butterfly effect type stuff there. Manny with that first kill on the round. If he goes down, that Viper wall is not up. Simple as that.
Ooh.
Simple as that. Simple as that. No, seriously, Prosperity, they did not have much of a chance going into that last round, and they needed the small things there. They needed an early start, but here comes a good early start, at least for Prosperity. They did get traded off immediately, but SAD heading right into B. They have currently no idea about Manny, but Manny, even with the element of surprise, not able to catch Benji. Benji was ready at least for a contact, but not ready for that exact position. This is good, at least for Jawa. Oh my goodness, could be able to get Jawa, but it doesn't happen. There goes the frag, and there goes yet another dirty frag. Zorona all over Yuki. Vantic and Iza the last 2.
Oh, Nizo pinched, the trade secured, but the backstab from Snowman unexpected. Vantic has an opportunity. 15 HP for Jawa. Concern of the positioning makes a mad dash for the ace site. Vantic might just meet him in spawn unexpectedly. Did they spawn him Hunter? His team had to call it out.
Jawa's planning safe, I think, here for
Spike
He
planted.
is slightly. We need a little
Ooh,
bit
they
of a
heard the
better
rope,
angle.
didn't they?
Jawa. All he really has here is his knife, but my goodness, both players down to just a single bullet, but you couldn't really predict it. 54 HP though, not enough.
With all the weapons you could have, the sheriffs want to make up for that HP differential, but again, I mean, SAD's just squeaking these rounds off out of heroics, right? This opening was gorgeous, right? The deep high tide obscures the Yuki scale up. The anchor from Manny was good, but we mentioned it. Benji's never been caught off guard by Manny's antics. He's like, I'm the one to spring praise like that. And all in all, I mean, it culminates down to that 1v1 where, again, we saw it. Good tracking out of Vantic, failure to close things out. So now, I mean, it's Nick go around, pull out the stop, pull out the craziness, and send maybe 3 down A.
And Prosperity. Let's have a little bit of fun with this potentially, or really, it's only fun for one player. Okay, cool. Oh no. Oh no.
And Benji doesn't fall for those antics, and I mean, at least it's only one player that lost their life. Now the rest are gonna try to handle this pressure head on here. I like the proactive util. I like the proactive swing. That spike down. That's a gun down.
Yeah, that's a great volley too. Just try to cover up any sort of other swing, any sort of plant there. But Suzy Zhao was still able to pick up the pieces, but it's not like the round's over. Both players rotated very quickly. Magic advancing still on the extremity.
Oh no.
There goes a 50-50, but it's more like a 5% versus 30 and then like 30 and like
Carry the 3?
and like
100?
30. Oh, man. Oh god.
The round's closed out. That's all we care about. And
there was
I
like
mean,
3-4
that's
players
just
over there.
unfortunate.
Oh, man. I can't. My head.
It's
I'm so
okay. It's
sorry.
okay. We'll talk about it afterwards. But 11-3, we talked about it. Actually, I should say the Dusk talked about it, right? The importance of pistol rounds. And I mean, with a 9-3, I think that's a prime example. So the way this goes SAD side, and they can snowball rounds. Unfortunately, there wasn't a second round stinger force, so Prosperity doesn't have to worry about things snowballing in SAD pairs where like the first half went. And now Magic, he was doing good fighting tube. Now he's doing good fighting under tube. And that's some really good opening chip damage found.
The first bit of actual damage needs to come in the hands of Yuki, at least for now. Contact's going to be coming in deep into A. The rest of Prosperity, they still have no idea about this setup, though. You're still going to have presence over towards the B side, but hold on now. And on that Tejo rotation, looking a bit strong. Still no idea about that mid side, but this is going to be the burst now. It's going to be the Gecko just to try to burst things open. But again, Yuki, nothing. It was almost perfect timing, though. Beautiful reply on the util just to try to cover up a kill or two, but it doesn't happen. Here comes Vantic, and my goodness, Jawa from above, able to get the frag. ISO, no chance. Jerwin looking for a shot, and indeed does actually, to the body of Iso. This is clean so far here for Sad. For Prosperity, they have a chance. Manny on the front lines, not able to get much, but Magic's still alive, and Magic needs to get all of them. It's a round back for Sad, and it's one more round away from first seed for Sad.
And then we talked about it, right? How Lotus, an improved score line. No, 13-11 was a 13-8. This was what, a 13-5? Yeah, the last time these two teams faced off, and we're looking at a better prospect as well. 12-3 right now. And that round, I mean, they let Zerona slip through the cracks. Again, they set themselves up so well. That Dizzy was perfect, and Jarvan with a single cloudburst is still alive. Jawa, you know, freaking zip lines in, and you don't have Vantic able to secure that kill. It's just, they look like they run out of steam a little bit. They understand it's a seeding match, and we may just be winding down. I mean, 3 players mid, forced by here, because it's last round, till OT. And I mean, with the no command online, the early round success here, it looks like they're taking it all the way through the B site.
That one just hurts, and this one is going to hurt even more. Jerwin out in the open, 3 players on the other side of his screen. He's gone. Back down to the 4-on-4. Chance here for Prosperity, but there goes Magic. Magic taking down Benji, but still Zerona with the same chance. Zerona isolated in the middle of sight, but still fine, still with an opportunity for frags. And Zerona lands on his feet and is going to drag Sad Esports to the #1 seed.
And with that, they will face off against Pigeons tomorrow, while we will see Prosperity Esports on stream have to duke it out against Shopify Rebellion Gold. But all in all, I think, you know, Sad knows what they have to work on before that matchup in terms of Lotus and throwing a 10-2 lead. And Prosperity know what they have to work on as well. They're Haven really, really good at the debut versus Icebox still rough around the edges, and Lotus, you know, they know also to work on that that defensive half a little bit. But all in all, a great series, I think, for these teams to work on what we mentioned in a low-stakes matchup they needed to before, you know, important matches tomorrow, those best-of-5s, and before they could even punch the ticket back into VCL in Stage 3.
Yeah, there's a lot to look over. Prosperity still looked extremely confident coming out of that second map, even though, again, plenty of back and forths, plenty of opportunities to adapt, basically, plenty of tests of strength for that team, and they really passed. So Prosperity, you can't exactly complain about the results coming out of today by any means. And Sad, however, they're probably the ones that kind of had a little bit of a wake-up call. Probably coming into this with a bit of a different mindset because, of course, with the result that they got earlier on in the Swiss stage, you would like to think that the guys are either taking a little bit of a step back, trying to loosen up a little bit, or trying to tighten up a bit on that preparation. So a lot of questions for these guys potentially trying to edit some of the things that they've been doing for the last few days to try to make their way back into Challengers. But folks, that work will come in overnight. We're going to send it over to our casters with a winner's interview to set us up for tomorrow. But for now, ciao, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Don't forget why. Don't forget why. Não tenta bater de frente. Sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Don't forget why.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to VALORANT Challengers League North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Gompers. And if you're just joining us, well, you've missed it. But SAD Esports have found, well, everyone's found their seating, but SAD Esports take the series 2-2-1, which means SAD Esports will be facing Pigeons tomorrow, but Prosperity Esports will be facing Shopify Rebellion Gold right here on stream as well. So stay right there. Well, don't stay right there. You have a whole 24 hours. But, I mean, you can. Feel free. We'd love to have you here. We just will not be doing anything for a while.
Yeah, stay here, guys.
You stay here. Gompers, it just kind of seemed towards the end like what maybe SAD had the read or something, but it just SAD was said, okay, we have places to be, people to see. We have an Okeanos announcement to see, you know, like we have places. we gotta go. We gotta get this done.
Honestly, credit where it's due. I respect it, the Okeanos stuff. But yeah, I think that game was pretty much as good as it gets, to be honest with you. I'm mostly, I don't even know what to say. No, actually, you know what? For me personally, Prosperity, it really was just like, I don't know, a big, gosh, I guess it's more so just diverting back to the first game of retaking those 1v1s. Honestly, there were actually occasions as well where they didn't take 1v1s. It was just a 1v3 and they should have had the advantage, but then they get taken down by one player. And it really is just like the luck of the draw of having a really, really, really good game on the agent that you're playing. And that's the unfortunate part, is when you're watching a game where, you know, that team is so fairly skilled and they're getting caught by things like that. Like Bantic getting caught from behind, Joa, you know, is peeking an angle thinking it's fully cleared. It's the fact that they're not clearing, they're not, you know, being diligent of their surroundings and just getting flanked every single round. And it was just extremely unfortunate when it came down to it. SAD just really handling the game to the best of their ability. And of course, going 13-3, like it shows in their gameplay that it was honestly best case scenario for them on Icebox.
And one of those things, I think, like you're highlighting it, that Prosperity necessarily didn't like do the worst job they've ever done to like to maybe kind of exaggerate a little bit. It just kind of seemed like just, I mean, just looking at the KDs, everyone on SAD was just firing on all cylinders together, especially our MVP Zerona on the side of SAD, 19 and 10 with four first kills, with a 308 ACS. I think, I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't highlight Zerona Gompers, just truly out of their mind performance.
Oh, absolutely incredible. I think Zerona was pivotal in the sense of being able to provide kind of like that sense of security for the team. Of course, I mean, the main objective for SAD was pretty much just to keep themselves like, honestly, just to keep themselves alive, like, and play the game the way that it was supposed to be played, even though they didn't have Derwin playing at that top frag as the duelist. It wasn't that difficult to keep the win, though. One person I really do want to highlight that I think had so much potential in this game was Tuesday. And it's incredible because there were rounds where it should have gone in favor of PRS, but it didn't because of Tuesday. He was that player that was there to be able to get more than one, the 3K in the 1v3, right? Like, and they were just on it when it came to playing Tejo. There really is no debate about it. I mean, of course, like the numbers aren't necessarily, you know, high enough to the point where you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Because, you know, when you 13-3 team, the game, it didn't go for that long in the first place. But like, you could just see instances like this where out in the open, committing to the play, taking the 3K in instances where it shouldn't happen that way and creating these clutch scenarios. It's just so incredibly difficult to play against the player that's so confident today. And it really just completely threw the game out of the window for Prosperity down in that third.
I think also you might be like looking at the agencies playing. You're seeing the Omen, you're seeing the Tejo, some of the best agents we have in the game, and on the patch that we are playing before Tejo gets nerfed. And you might say, oh, well, you know, it is what it is. But nah, like as Gompers has pointed out, it is that kind of cerebralness that we're talking about, that confidence that comes in. You can't teach that. You literally can't teach that. It is a different kind of beast. But today we have an interview for everyone here in chat and watching at home, VOD, wherever it may be. It is Zerona here from the side of, excuse me, I just caught from SAD Esports. How you doing, Zerona?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. First thing I want to ask you is about that spray transfer at the end. Because it kind of just seemed like you were done. You had places to be, people to see. You know, you want to get your seeding match over with. It was done. And kind of, we were saying that we saw this kind of like confidence coming from everyone coming out into this seeding match today. do you think we had the right read? Were you guys pretty confident? What was the kind of the vibe of the team?
We kind of like just said fuck it. Oh, can I say that?
No, you can't, but it's okay. Keep on going.
We said freak it, and we basically just started swinging things more often, you know, playing more confidence, and just I don't know, just kind of just like being done with it, you know, where we lost so much during the split. We made it to relegation promotion or whatever it's called, and honestly, I'm kind of done, you know, like we shouldn't be here. Our team is like really good. I know what we can bring, but it just sucks that we're here, you know. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, talk about that, because like that sort of anger, you know, like this, we shouldn't be here. We're better than this, etc.
Yeah.
That like drive is, I think, is the word to call it. How do you not make that kind of like bog you down in a sense? Because I know there are plenty of people out there who maybe like might be in your shoes and will say, oh my God, this is terrible. Like, how could we be here, etc. And it really hampers down their gameplay, and they wouldn't find that spray transfer. They wouldn't find the 13-3. How do you as a player and as a team find that confidence and that drive to kind of rise to the challenge rather than crumble under the pressure?
My personal like way of doing things is like I don't like being like bad at anything I do. So it's like I'm just like trying to show that like I'm actually like good at the game, you know, and like not just like just playing here for fun, you know. Like I want to just like show that I'm dominant, you know, and like in the scene, and like I can just like take over whenever I want, you know.
So it's quite very simple for you. This is the vibe I'm
very
getting.
simple. Like I don't get angry about like losing matches or anything. It doesn't really affect me. It's always a learning process. But like just being here in relegation like really like made me like shook, you know, like when we like lost our last match and like lost and like got to here, I was like, damn, like it pissed me off, you know, a little bit. So I just want to like win out now and just like show that we can just like be good, you know.
Would you say that maybe that's one of the first times you've ever felt that emotion of just like, oh my God, like this is upsetting, like I need to do something about that in your competitive career?
Not like the first time. I think like the first time will probably be like when I first started like getting grouped in like NSGs and stuff, like weeklies, like monthlies. But it's definitely like hit hard this time because like it's been a while, you know. I'm not an angry person. I'm very like okay with losing, but it's like because I'm always learning, you know. But I'm just trying to be better and not letting and using it to fuel me now, you know. And just become like better.
Well, tomorrow you'll be facing Pigeons, who as this was a seeding match. What are your thoughts going into tomorrow's match facing them?
I think they're cool guys. I like them all. I like Cobert. I like Zamal. I think the other three are Scrubble Bubble, and actually I don't know the other two, but I like those three. Those three guys are cool. I'm like confident going into the match. You know, it's gonna be the same game. You know, just show up, play.
Zerona, I'm sure they're cool. I'm sure they're very nice young gentlemen. About their play style, about how you are going to win tomorrow. How is that going to happen?
Shoot back. You know, like shoot him first. FPS. Put pixel on head. Boom. Mouse one.
Write that down if you're watching at home.
Yeah.
Something I want to.
FPS.
At the end of the day, it is an FPS. One last question for you. You seem like someone who has just wanted to really, I'm going to say prove themselves is the wrong word, but really kind of show to the greater audience who you are as a player. I mean, you're a fantastic player. We saw this today. First, 4 Bloods and Viper. Like, who does that? And you're laughing because you know that's ridiculous, right? Like, that is like, it's something special, to be frank.
Might be a little aggressive, you know?
Maybe a little aggressive, but you need to have the chops to back it up, right?
Yeah.
If maybe this is people's like first real like introduction to you, what would you like them to know about you?
I'll be the best Viper, best info, best anything that you put me on, best role, you know, put me on any role, I'll be the best at it. I'll put work in it. You'll probably always see me at the top, never be at the bottom. And if I am off game, it happens every time, you know?
Right. Awesome. Well, congratulations, Rona, and we'll see you tomorrow against Pigeons.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gompers, I love that mentality. I am the best. Simple. It's something I struggle with in my everyday life, right? Like, it's just something that you can't teach that. It is something that you just inherently have to have. And that is, I think he's pretty young as well. That is something that is so great to have at that age. And that's like not even like an exorbitant amount of ego, right? It's just like the self-assuredness that's so amazing. But again, after today, SAD Esports will be facing Pigeons moving forward. As Mine said, go Birds. They'll be facing tomorrow. Shout out to our Eagles, of course. And here are the group standings. A clean 2-0 for SAD Esports. With today's results, Prosperity Esports will be going 1-1. Looking at that differential, I mean, you can tell someone got 13-3 today with that differential, Coppers.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it just shows in the stats. I'm not really calling anyone out, but yeah, I absolutely perfect way to end off the series. Of course, now they're in that winners bracket, I guess you can say, the upper bracket. So it does feel nice. I mean, all in all, it really just made the difference of who you're going to play against when you think about it. But yeah, Prosperity, they didn't lose anything. And I think they definitely played a better game than they did, obviously, within the last series. They played against SAD Esports. In this series, of course, that last month was a bit of unfortunate downer. But at the end of the day, I think they learned something, and they definitely learned how to adapt against a very, very difficult team. And under the circumstance that they play against each other again, you know, if they end up winning against Shopify Rebellion Gold, then yes, there is an opportunity to push themselves further and, you know, make that name for themselves. But I am really excited to see how kind of this game's for them against Shopify Rebellion Gold, a team that we haven't seen in a while in Challengers. And I'm so excited to see them come back. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to.
Well, I know they're watching. I've gotten confirmation that they are watching, and we will see them tomorrow on stream against Prosperity Esports, a game we know you will see, you don't want to miss. But that's going to be it for us today on the desk. On behalf of production, the casters, Gompers, and myself, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have fun, be safe, make good decisions, and take that Zerona confidence with you today. Cheers.
You're just looking for an excuse to use this Annihilation. Again, this is extreme lack of space here for Prosperity. Time is ticking. They're finally stepping up here. Benji waiting for the call. Huge flick on the flash.
Oh, no.
Able to deflect away from it. Benji, bro! Missed shot from Jawa. There's still the one-on-one. Vantic going for the defuse. Jawa! The missiles are gonna miss. And Vantic. One-on-one here over in spawn. Benji takes down Magic. Still a lot more work to be done. Prosperity really just looking for a couple of these rifles. Looking for a break. This is exactly, of course, the sad need potentially. KJ nor the Viper is really a line of sight here, but it is one of the players from A with the watch. Manny, there you go, Manny. And the last two remaining over in his spawn.
Want the gun?
Like, it's not like the job's done though. Tuzi, Benji has the line of sight, has the crossfire made. Tuzi! My God! Berger went out in the open. 3 players on the other side of the screen. He's gone. 4-on-4 chance here for Prosperity, but there goes Magic. Magic taking down Benji, but still Zerona with the same chance. Zerona isolated in the middle of sight, but still fine, still with an opportunity for frags.